Who knew? Deadly heat. There's a tourist attraction. I mean, are you selling tickets? That story coming up with Charlie and Mike and Jonathan and you. Jonathan in for Mike this morning on WSGW. Also, I need to recognize this being a special date for WSGW and something that's going on. Something that we tried to do a couple of weeks ago and couldn't. We're going to try again today, and I think we'll be able to. And we'll get into that a little bit for you, too, coming up. Weather forecast, nice to start, but we think wet moves in later on. And it could be a lot of wet, as you'll hear in the forecast coming along. Temperature now is 69, pushing around 85 for today's high. In the newsroom for Mike Percha this morning, here's Jonathan Dent.
Thank you, Charlie. Good morning, everybody. A Bay City man was arrested after crashing and rolling his vehicle Saturday night. MLive reports the crash occurred around 10:25 in the 1000 block of South Winona Avenue. The 58-year-old was driving a 2013 Chevy Volt southbound when he crashed into an unoccupied 2024 Chevy Equinox, and his vehicle rolled onto its side, trapping the man inside. He was extracted by firefighters and taken to a local hospital for treatment of minor injuries before being arrested for third offense operating while intoxicated. A Genesee County man died due to injuries caused by a firework on the 4th of July. According to police in Clayton Township, the 32-year-old suffered a fatal head injury from a firework in the 1200 block of Van Vliet Road around 9 p.m. Investigators say it appears to have been an accident, and drugs or alcohol are not suspected to be factors. The State of Michigan Fireworks Enforcement Division is assisting in the investigation. Authorities have confirmed that a severe storm last Friday did result in a tornado touching down in Huron County. According to the National Weather Service, an EF0 tornado was detected in Huron Township near the tip of Michigan's thumb. Being in the weakest tornado classification, it reached estimated wind speeds of around 75 miles per hour and lasted about 2 minutes between 4:38 and 4:40 p.m. Authorities say damage was mainly caused to trees and some nearby crops. A Saginaw County man plans to buy some land after winning $4 million with a scratch-off ticket from the Michigan Lottery. The 52-year-old, who wished to remain anonymous, bought 2 tickets for the $4 million ultimate game at the Fast Lane convenience store at 3540 State Street in Saginaw, then scratched off the winning ticket while pumping gas. The player decided to take the $2.7 million lump sum payment. According to the Michigan Lottery, the instant game has paid out more than $11 million to players since it began. Coming up after the break, state police assisting in the investigation of a block party shooting in Detroit, and Governor Gretchen Whitmer has signed a pair of election reform bills into law.
Let me take a moment to talk about my friends at Quick Lane Freeland next to my car dealer, McDonald Ford. This is where you can get all of your routine maintenance done. Oil changes, brakes, tires, batteries, and they work on all makes and models of cars, not just Fords. Chevys, Toyotas, Hondas, Jeeps, Dodge, you name it. They keep them all in tip-top shape. And here is a tip from Quick Lane Freeland.
Do you suffer from allergies? Did you know FrigiFresh kills germs in your vehicle's air conditioning system? FrigiFresh is a hospital-grade disinfectant that controls pollen, molds, and mildew inside your car. It's only $20 and takes less than 10 minutes for the treatment. You can get FrigiFresh at Quick Lane next to McDonald Ford in Freeland. Just stop in. No appointment needed.
Quick Lane Freeland, right next to McDonald Ford, working on all makes and models of cars.
WSGW News Time, 6:33. An Elmira man fleeing from police died in a high-speed motorcycle crash. Over the weekend in Boyne Valley Township, troopers in Emmett County saw a man only identified as 40 years old traveling around 110 miles per hour when it fled from police, who decided not to pursue. About 25 minutes later, that same rider allegedly sideswiped a closed trailer and slammed into the back of a truck. Witnesses say he was still moving at more than 100 miles per hour at the time of the crash. He was transported to the hospital in Petoskey and later died from his injuries. Michigan State Police say they are assisting the Detroit Police Department with its investigation connected to the block party shooting. Here's MSP's Lieutenant Mike Shaw.
So we do have an excellent relationship with the Detroit Police Department. Currently, our members of our homicide task force are working with the DPD portion of it. So the homicide task force is actually a group of half Detroit Police Department detectives and half MSP detectives. So they are helping investigate that incident.
Shaw is also encouraging everyone to safely store their firearms. Governor Gretchen Whitmer has signed a pair of election reform bills into law. The first smooths over a recount process for precincts that report a mismatched number of ballots and clarifies that county law enforcement has the authority to investigate potential voter fraud. The second bill updates sentencing guidelines for election law violations. State Senator Stephanie Chang of Detroit, who sponsored one of the bills, says the legislation modernizes the state's 70-year-old election recount laws. And Charlie, it's a day to support the mothers of our troops. Michigan News Network's Ryan Recker has more.
Blue Star Mothers now have their own day. It's February 1st in Michigan, sponsored by Michigan State Senator Rick Alpin of Six Lakes. It'll promote the courage, strength, and sacrifice of those families who have their children serving this country.
You can't do anything about a national holiday like we have for Gold Star Mothers. You know, I don't have that kind of clout, but it made sense for Michigan, since Michigan was the birthplace of the Blue Star Mothers, that we at least have a day dedicated to it in this state. You know, we can work on a national one, but for now, get it at the state level.
Founded in 1942 in Flint, the organization now has 200 chapters across the country to honor the courage and sacrifice of the women who have children who served or are currently serving in the military. Ryan Recker for the Michigan News Network.
So a nice recognition there.
Yeah.
I was thrown off there by his sign-off, the Michigan News Network. Added some flair to that one. It threw me off.
Just want to let folks know that he's for the News Network. It is 6:37 on WSGW. As we continue on your Tuesday morning, again, you've got Jonathan in the newsroom for Mike Percha. This morning, we have the weather update forecasting that we have being brought to you with Sanitary Mattress, your factory showroom at 5343 James Road in Saginaw. Reminding you that if you need a mattress made to your specification, you can have it done through the services of your local mattress manufacturer. Right here in the Great Lakes Bay region. Don't have to go to the big box stores. You can go, and especially if it's a mattress made to your specifications, good luck. But if you have an odd-size mattress need, camper, RV, cabin, boat, you name it, Sanitary Mattress will serve you locally. 5343 James Road in Saginaw, just east of Harry Brown Airport. Online, sanitarymattress.com. Call 989-753-1757. Now with WNEM First Alert meteorologist Matthew Mondro.
First Alert Weather Team is continuing to track rainfall for the middle of this week as the remnants of Beryl make their way right through the Great Lakes here. As of this morning, we are declaring a First Alert Weather Day for Wednesday due to the heavy rainfall accumulations. We are calling for 2 to 4 inches of rainfall through parts of mid-Michigan, especially around the Bay region here across the Thumb. Owasso, Flint, and Lapeer are included. These are also places where there's a flood watch from the National Weather Service. Overall, we are expecting a very prolonged period of rainfall as these remnants move through. It'll start up in the mid-afternoon on this Tuesday here, starting around Flint. So starting around 4 or 5 o'clock, we see this rain moving in from the south, and then it'll be here through the overnight and through much of the day on Wednesday. Essentially an all-day rain on Wednesday. Once we go into Thursday, though, we will start to see these showers winding down. Only just a few lingering showers by then. But again, by Wednesday night to Thursday morning, some rainfall accumulations across mid-Michigan will be between 2 and 4 inches. So we are expecting some flooding in fields, low-lying areas that are prone to flooding. You'll certainly see some standing water by the end of Wednesday. Going towards Friday and Saturday, we are just seeing a few pop-up chances for some showers. Certainly nothing significant there. The big story is going to be this rainfall that we have on the way for tonight and for tomorrow. We'll have a high of 85 for today, staying muggy as well. Then going into Wednesday, with all that rain moving through, temperatures pretty much just stay completely level through the daytime. Only have a high around 67 on Wednesday, and then turning hot by the weekend, highs in the upper 80s, and also humid over the weekend as well. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matthew Mondro.
We have these conditions: the rising barometer of 2.994, the southwest wind, which averages 6, and we show a temp reading of 69 at WSGW, your connection to the Great Lakes Bay region and your connection to the world. We do note the National Weather Service. You heard the reference from Matthew Montroe. There is a flood watch that's in effect. Essentially, it's for the southern half of the state. We've talked about using a line. You take it here from the Saginaw Bay Midland area to the tip of the thumb, including Huron County, and just draw the horizontal line to Lake Michigan, everything to the south. It does stagger a little bit, if you will. I mean, if you go direct west, there are a couple of counties, such as Oceana and Newaygo, Mecosta, Muskegon, that actually aren't involved in the flood watch, as the system is going to kind of go diagonally from the southwest here up to the Great Lakes Bay region, but everything to the south essentially. Up to 4 inches of rainfall you're hearing, and that's for our area, maybe even a little bit more in some of the more southern sections of the state. Everything is fine and dry right now. The expectations are later on when it starts to move in, as it's moving from the south to the north, those remnants of Beryl. It's just a matter of how much dumping will take place. So we'll keep you up to date. And as, of course, you heard from Matthew, the First Alert team at WNEM, helping us to stay up to date as well. Other than that, things seem okay. With your morning team on WSGW View, again, Jonathan in for Mike this morning in the newsroom. Charlie here. Thanks for joining us on 100.5 and 790. Thanks for joining us through Siri and Alexa. And thanks for joining us with WSGW.com. Of course, Storemaster Exteriors making that availability for you, as well as your studio sponsorship. Hey, good time to remind you that if you need gutter work, Storemaster Exteriors can certainly help you with that. And boy, making sure that you're protected against the damaging effects of rainwater, especially if you have to move a lot of rainwater. StoremasterExteriors.com. StoremasterExteriors.com, again, your online and your studio sponsor of WSGW. As we also stream on Facebook, stream on X, and on Twitch, and on YouTube.
Mike here from Westside Decorating Center with an unbeatable promotion on our granite and quartz countertops. At Westside, we're committed to enhancing your home. So for the entire month of July, enjoy free tear out of your old laminate counters, free edge upgrades, and incredible discounts on a wide range of granite and quartz counters. Upgrade your space with style and savings. Visit us today at 5789 State Street in Saginaw Township, or check us out online at westsidedecoratingcenter.com.
Hot deal days are here at Meijer. Get big offers all over the store July 7th through 13th. Save $170 on Element 65-inch 4K Zumo TV. Plus, get $50 off your next in-store purchase with coupon printed at checkout. Limit 2. Save $80 on a SodaStream art machine. And get 40% off select top hydration bottles and tumblers. These prices won't last long. Shop Hot Deal Days at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in-store or in the Meijer app.
What's the most important part of a retirement plan?
Income is king, because we only need income. And if you don't have an income plan, you don't have a retirement plan.
That's Kevin Ray, financial coach at Insight Folios. Kevin tells his listeners every week about the importance of income planning, minimizing taxes, and strategies to lead a worry-free retirement. Learn all about that and get your own complimentary financial review by calling 888-885-PLAN. That's 888-885-7526.
Extreme deadly heat. It's a tourist attraction, of course. A little on that coming up for you in a moment on WSW. It's a 6:43. Charlie, Mike, Jonathan, and you. Your morning team is sponsored by Paintbull. We send you to Bay Road north of Shattuck and Saginaw. The paint protections, the graphene coatings, everything that can be done to help you with the exterior of your vehicle. Rust proofing. Yeah, Paintbull does that. And more. Bay Road north of Shattuck and Saginaw, east side of the road. Online, you're looking for paintbullrepair.com. Paintbullrepair.com. It's 6:44. A couple of quick reminders. We were talking before the news about the videos that Jonathan and I were reviewing with the dog being rescued, the dog causing a fire. A reminder that Those videos are posted on the Morning Team page. If you go to WSGW.com, scroll down, look for the red section which highlights shows. Look for the Morning Team circle. Click on that. Look for today's date, July 9, 2024. Every morning that the Morning Team is on, we do have a corresponding online page where we put the material of what we do on air. We do for you online. Podcast segments and conversation, links to videos, links to pictures. We do our best to provide the online content from on air so you can have the best of all worlds, audio and digital worlds. So that those videos are already posted up in case you want to check them out. I've got to remind you, this is a special day for WSGW. This is the Winvitational Golf Outing Day. Remember a couple of weeks ago, we attempted to have the Winvitational and got rained out. I mean, that big dumping of rain that happened in the morning. Well, the big dumping is now expected later on today, so I think that we're going to get our golf in. And again, thanks to the Sawmill as our host, Westside Decorating Center, which is presenting our Winvitational, and Branham's Jewelry, which powers the Winvitational. The hole-in-one opportunity, the $10,000 hole-in-one from Buck Insurance in Freeland, longest drive competition sponsored by JJ's Roadhouse. Winners enjoying overnight stays with golf and more at Shanty Creek Resorts. A lot of great businesses acting as hole sponsors and more prizes. And at the Sawmill, 9 o'clock is our start time. So we thank all those who were participating in our closest to the pin contests, as 3 of our listeners won foursomes and were able to adjust their schedules. Where on June 25th, because of the weather, we couldn't golf, but this morning we can. And so we're looking forward to it. Get on the course, get off the course, and then the rains can come. So that's what's happening today with the WSW Winvitational 2024. 6:46 is the time. Maybe you've heard, and I know you have in some of the news reports this morning, there's some deadly heat. And I don't say that flippantly. It's deadly heat out west in a lot of places. Unfortunately, deaths are occurring. And in one particular location, getting a lot of attention worldwide because of record-setting temperatures, perhaps all-time records, Death Valley National Park. And
well, if anywhere's going to have deadly heat.
Yeah, a place like Death Valley seems appropriate, doesn't it? I mean, the stories coming out of there are just unfortunate. People who are still trying to hike trails and things like that. So hot, if I understand correctly, I just saw a story where rescue helicopters can't even fly.
Really?
Because it's so hot. I guess helicopters can't fly in heat above 120. And since it's been consistently above, yeah. So even if you're someplace and you need the helicopter come get you, yet we have the story this morning where it reads this way for the Associated Press. Hundreds of adventurers from around the USA, as well as tourists, especially from Europe, are being drawn to Death Valley National Park to experience the extreme record heat-setting conditions. Again, I state, who knew deadly heat would be a tourist attraction?
These are probably the same people that look directly at a solar eclipse without glasses.
Yeah, probably. French, Spanish, Swiss tourists, especially, leaving their air-conditioned rental cars and motorhomes to take photographs of the barren landscape. Many saying it's so different than what we experience with our snow-capped mountains and green rolling hills at home.
We love the Alps. It's so nice and green, and in the summer, and then in the winter it gets bitter cold, but we're nice in our log cabins. And so we've decided to travel halfway across the world to the middle of the desert with a giant hole in the ground where it is literally the temperature of hell.
And we're happy about it.
And we love it.
Or as one person said, I was excited it was going to be this hot. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Kind of like walking on Mars. Well, we don't know that by comparison, but might as well be.
I was baking chicken in the oven last night, and I opened it up and got a blast of heat right in my face because I was dumb enough to be leaning over the oven. I got the experience. There it is, my once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Didn't have to leave home or go to Death Valley.
And it tasted, and it smelled like chicken, which was nice.
So it's even better. You experienced the high heat and actually got a meal out of it.
Smell like sweaty tourists.
Another tourist in Switzerland is quoted. It's impressive. It's like a wave that hits you when you get out of the car, or maybe when you open the oven. But it's a very dry heat. Oh, yeah, I've heard that before.
What?
Oh, I even, on the morning team page, I posted a picture of a sign that is greeting people who are thinking of walking some of the trails. The sign reads, "Stop, extreme heat danger. Walking after 10 a.m., not recommended."
For the love of God, turn around.
And yet there are still people. So, as I said, who knew extreme heat is, hey, come to our town. We've got great places to eat. We have fairs to attend. We have beautiful recreational activities. And we have heat of 120 degrees that you can experience. Not a selling point, I don't think.
I don't think so.
In seriousness, I hope everyone's okay. I mean, they can't caution people enough. And again, unfortunately, the number of deaths that you're hearing about, if not in Death Valley itself, in other places too, that this heat is causing. What a difference, though. I mean, here, you got that going out there, and we're potentially talking about 5 inches of rainfall around here. So that's the United States for you.
It's a big place, the U.S. So
yeah, get the weather variations. I understand that.
All sorts here.
It is your morning team on WSGW. Let's move on to the up to the minute reports of news and business and weather and sports. Time is 6:51.
From Michigan News Source, I'm Cheryl Fritz. Our top story this hour, most details about the early Sunday morning shooting that killed 2 people and wounded 19 others in Detroit won't be released anytime soon. That according to Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy. Police officials said Monday there were multiple shooters, but didn't indicate anything else about possible suspects or a motive. Worthy said the investigation is going to take a long time because police officers are going through mountains of evidence. Detroit Police Chief James White said his investigation will focus on the crime itself and the police response. He added there were 3 911 calls that officers were already in the area for and almost on scene responding to that shooting. The party involved a number of houses is considered an unsanctioned or illegal block party. Consumers Energy is setting up more EV charging locations. Jim Lehocky has the story.
Consumers Energy is slated to power more than 1,500 new fast-charging public electric vehicle locations by 2030. They say EV numbers in Michigan have tripled since 2020, and based on that growth, it expects more than 1,500 charging locations with 4 or more fast chargers to be built over the next 6 years. For Michigan News Source, I'm Jim Lehocky.
A roadless Michigan destination spot has been deemed the best U.S. national park by the Wall Street Journal. In a study of America's best public lands, the Wall Street Journal deemed Michigan's Isle Royale National Park number 1 out of 63 national parks, calling it an unexpected winner when you consider competition from the likes of Yellowstone, Zion, and Yosemite. The 4 main criteria for the ranking include size of the crowds, quality and quantity of hiking routes, available campsites, and access to other recreational activities. I'm Cheryl Fritz.
And Charlie, coming up at 7 o'clock, CBS will have our national and international reports. Then we'll be right back here in the WSGW newsroom for more local and state news.
We continue up to that 7 o'clock hour as we have the up to the minute reports of news, of business, of weather, and sports. It is on to the business stories now, the Fox Business Report. It's 6:53.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell testifies before the Senate Banking Committee today as part of his semi-annual update to Congress. He'll be appearing before the House Financial Services Committee on Wednesday. David Towle, president of ProChain Capital, says investors are anticipating news of when the Fed will lower interest rates.
I believe we will get one cut before the end of the year, most likely, I think, before the election. But if the market sees a risk-off environment or a tepid environment where Powell seems to still be slow-rolling that move towards a cut, then the market may get cold feet and may sell off a little bit.
Also today, the National Federation of Independent Business Small Business Optimism Index for June. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
Hi, I'm Ron Kraszewski, Chairman and CEO of Stifel. Financial advisors, let's face it, if you're not growing your practice, you're losing market share. Stifel is a growing, entrepreneurial, advisor-centric firm built for successful advisors like you. There's a reason why 148 financial advisors joined Stifel last year. Come join us and find out why Stifel is the firm where success meets success. Visit www.choosestifel.com.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Heading up to the hour, and you're up to the minute weather on WSGW. WNEM First Alert Meteorologist Matthew Mondro at 6:55.
Staying warm and muggy for this Tuesday. High of 85, dew points at 65 degrees or higher. We do expect dry weather through much of the morning and the early afternoon, but rainfall will start to move in from the south. So starting in Flint, sometime in the mid to late afternoon, right around 4 or 5 o'clock is when we could see those first showers. That leads into more rain for tonight, a low of 66, then only a high of 67 on Wednesday. Essentially an all-day rain for tomorrow as the remnants of Beryl move through. We have declared a first alert weather day for Wednesday due to the heavy rainfall totals. We are expecting some accumulations by Wednesday night into Thursday morning to range from 2 to 4 inches. This does bring a flooding threat for fields and low-lying areas or areas prone to flooding. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matthew Mondro.
Barometric pressure, it's at 2994, rising. Wind, that's coming from the southwest, averaging about 6 miles per. A temp of 69 at WSGW. Your connection to the Great Lakes Bay region, your connection to the world. Heading up to the hour and up to the minute sports. Next at 6:56.
I worked on the ranch here, first with my grandfather and then my dad. On this land, we do have a lot of sun, but also have a lot of wind. So having the turbines on the ranch is a benefit to us. I was apprehensive about the whole project, but now I think it's a win-win for everybody. We will produce power for the folks around this area, and this land will have a legacy. As a rancher, I think that's what we really hope for.
Fuel for Thought, presented by the American Clean Power Association.
Save big money on your next upgrade now at Menards. Some things never go out of style, like tile from Mohawk. In kitchens, bathrooms, or backsplashes, you can count on the durability and easy maintenance of tile. From classic design to contemporary chic, with over 350 tiles to choose from. Check out all our tile options at Menards. #1 in customer satisfaction among home improvement retailers according to J.D. Power. For more information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Save big money at Menards.
Checking out sports on WSGW, the up to the hour, up to the minute variety. It's 6:58. Tigers with a 1-0 win over the Guardians last night at Comerica Park. The first of a 4-game series against the first place Guardians. And the Tigers and the Guardians were scoreless into the 8th inning, and that's when the Tigers were able to plate a run thanks to an error, which scored the winning run. It was pitcher Cater Montero, who went the first 6 1/3 innings of shutout baseball. Didn't get the win. Certainly was impressive to keep the Tigers in that ball game. The Tigers have won 4 straight, go for 5 in a row tonight, hosting the Guardians. 6:45 broadcast on 790 AM WSGW. Tigers have activated Javi Baez off the injured list, sent down Ryan Kreidler, and the Tigers have put Parker Meadows on the IL with his hamstring injury and have called up Akil Baddoo. Great Lakes Loons were off last night. Loons will be hosting Fort Wayne in the first of a 6-game series tonight at Dow Diamond. Golf note, the PGA of America has named Keegan Bradley as the next captain for the U.S. Ryder Cup team. And the big story out of Wimbledon yesterday was American Taylor Fritz. He's seeded number 13. He won a 5-setter against Alexander Zverev. He lost the first two sets and came back to win the next 3. And so he advances into the quarterfinals. On the women's draw, the American number 11 seed, Danielle Collins, she lost a 3rd-round match. Sports on the WSGW. As we continue going up to the hour, it's 6:59.
Look, there goes another one. Another used vehicle with the Wilson Ford Lincoln name on the back. Jim Wilson, you're selling a lot of used cars and trucks.
We're seeing people from all over the state. It's amazing.
Look at these registrations from Frankenmuth, Caro, Flint, Birch Run, Alma, and lots of people from Bay City and Saginaw.
When you can buy this kind of quality vehicle at the prices we offer, it's well worth driving a few extra minutes.
Customers are telling us they've shopped around, sometimes 4 or 5 other dealers.
We consistently beat market prices on the most in-demand vehicles. And with our growing sales volume, we truly need and will pay more for your trade.
This is the Ford Lincoln dealership making headlines with the finest pre-owned vehicles for less, much less. Wilson Ford Lincoln, Bay Road, Saginaw, or wilsonford.com.
News with WSGW. It's 7 o'clock.
Broadcasting from the Stormmaster Exterior Studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We begin with President Biden, who's facing new questions over his health, and a doctor who's made multiple trips to the White House over the past year. Correspondent Jared Hill has our top story.
After declining to say why Dr. Kevin Kennard, a neurologist and Parkinson's specialist, had visited the White House 8 times in 8 months, last night, the president's personal physician sent a memo revealing Kennard had only examined Biden as part of his annual physical, adding the doctor also sees military personnel patients at the White House.
Hurricane Beryl's powered down to a tropical depression now after slamming the Houston area with torrential rain, massive flooding, and wind that's decimated homes and property. Haley Laredo's 73-year-old grandmother was crushed to death by a tree that fell on her house.
My son was screaming, "Grandma," because he saw me like crying and he started freaking out. He was like, "Grandma," he said, "call 911.
Beryl's blamed for at least 8 deaths. More than 2.3 million homes and businesses still have no power. An unrelenting heat wave baking the country is suspected in 4 deaths in the Portland area, where the high for today is 104. KXL's John Eric Smith.
The Multnomah County Medical Examiner says 4 people died related to excessive heat over the past weekend. The county says it doesn't know about any possible underlying health issues. Health Officer Dr. Richard Bruno.
They probably would not have expired if they had had better cooling options.
International condemnation a day after a strike on a children's hospital in Ukraine. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
Rescuers searched through the night for survivors. The UN now says there is a high likelihood the hospital took a direct hit from a Russian missile and called it one of the most egregious attacks since Russia's invasion. The war in Ukraine is tops on the agenda at the NATO summit in Washington, which Moscow says it will be watching closely.
A school district in Chester County, Pennsylvania, says a group of middle school students was posting social media videos claiming to be from teachers. Great Valley District Superintendent Daniel Goffredo.
We learned about the creation of 22 fake TikTok accounts that posted grossly inappropriate and hurtful comments.
He says they included pornographic, racist, and homophobic pictures and text, including the teachers and their families. School officials say they're meeting with local law enforcement on possible action. Shaboozie's just made history. Bar Songs made him the first black male artist to reach #1 on Billboard's Hot 100 and country song charts at the same time. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and
We're proud to make Pioneer Sugar for you and your family. Proud to be found in your kitchen, the heart of your home. And it doesn't really matter what you make with Pioneer Sugar, whether it's with our granulated white, light brown, or soft confectioners. It's the memories you'll make using it that will matter the most. Pioneer Sugar, pure and all natural, made from sugar beets grown right here. What could be sweeter than that?
Well, hello, summer. We are glad you've arrived. Thank you for bringing all these warm, sunny days and rain showers, allowing our gardens to grow and keeping our lawns lush and green. However, when you decide to go a little overboard with those torrential downpours, thunderstorms, as well as hot, humid days, we know sump pumps and air conditioning systems are going to be put to the test, which may result in a need for service or even replacement. Hi, I'm Greg Reamer with Reamer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. We're ready to help with those sump pumps that fail and air conditioning systems that can't keep up with summer's crazy and unpredictable heat waves. Reamer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning sells and installs electric, battery, and water-powered sump pumps. We're also the leading expert for central air conditioning repairs and replacements. Licensed and insured technicians will get your equipment up and running and give you peace of mind to enjoy all summer has to offer here in Michigan. Call Reamer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning today, 989-792-8738, or visit us on the web at reamerplumbing.com.
Any way you spell it, Reamer means quality.
Welcome to retirement. Now, replace your paycheck. To local financial coach Kevin Ray, this is what retirement planning is all about.
Building monthly paychecks. And how you build those monthly paychecks is going to determine how well in retirement you're going to enjoy it. So sit down and build a good framework, and it starts with income.
So build your framework with Kevin and the team at Insight Folios today by calling 888-885-PLAN. That's 888-885-7526.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
This has got to be one of the craziest world records ever. I mean, how do you even discover that you have this talent? I don't know if I call it a talent, but there's video, so there's proof. That's at 7:20. Your morning team is here right now on WSGW. You with Charlie and Mike and Jonathan, with Jonathan in for Mike in the newsroom on this Tuesday, where we have a cloudy morning. Temperature right now is 69, expecting clouds through the day. Maybe pushing 85 for a high, but also the expectations of rain. And rain is the key forecast word, as you'll hear in the forecast coming up. Bill O'Reilly's commentary at 7:25. He talks about how Democrats are fighting each other over President Biden. And sports to do for you, too. That's on the way after news. News being brought to you by Rifkin Scrap Iron and Metal in Saginaw. That's Rifkin Scrap Iron and Metal in Saginaw. In the newsroom for Mike Percha, Jonathan Dent.
Thank you, Charlie. Good morning, everybody. Authorities in Huron County say a Lansing man is okay after he was thrown from his boat and swam to shore late Saturday night. According to Sheriff Kelly Hansen, deputies responded to Sand Point in Caseville Township around 9:45 p.m. after residents reported a small boat going in circles with no visible occupants. The sheriff's office and Coast Guard searched the area but had to stop for the night due to low visibility. Early Sunday morning, the sheriff's office found the boat out of gas about 1.5 miles south of Caseville. Between 7:45 and 8 a.m., authorities learned the boat belonged to a 45-year-old Lansing man who had reportedly been thrown from the vessel when it hit a wave. He had swum to shore safely, but did not report it to police. Investigators say alcohol is believed to have played a large role in the incident, and enforcement action is being taken. A pool at a Saginaw Township elementary school will likely get some repairs thanks to a $1.9 million grant from the state of Michigan. The pool at Sherwood Elementary School closed in February of 2022 because of a broken dehumidification unit that caused mold and structural problems in the building. Before its closure, the pool hosted programs for school children and community members for over 35 years. The district has put together a rehabilitation plan, but it wasn't able to use money from its general fund because the pool is not used for day-to-day K-12 instruction. State Representative Amos O'Neill secured funding in the 2025 state budget, which is awaiting Governor Whitmer's signature. The school hopes to release a roadmap for reopening the pool once the funds are made available in the fall. After severe weather concerns prompted a cancellation in June, Great Lakes Bay Pride has announced a new date for its regional festival. The new date is set for August 17th at Winona Park between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. The free event will include vendors, community resource partners, health screenings, and a children's activity area. Organizers say most elements of the event will stay the same, with some changes to entertainment and vendors expected because of the rescheduling. WSGW News Time, 7:08.
It happens after every commercial building gets built.
That looks great, boys. Wow, what a change. The owners are going to be thrilled.
Even after cleaning up the garage or shed. That leftover scrap metal can be a burden, but it doesn't have to be, and it can make you some cash. Rifkin Scrap Iron and Metal is a metal recycling company that'll pay you cash and recycle your metal for the future. Rifkin Scrap Iron and Metal also makes it easy. We can provide containers for industrial manufacturing facilities and small specialty shops for moving and storing scrap metals. Looking to scrap a vehicle? We got you. Rifkin Scrap Iron and Metal in Saginaw, just north of the Dow Event Center. Also located in West Branch, 1 mile off I-75 and M76. Schedule a car pickup or check metal prices now at rifkin-co.com. Rifkin Scrap Iron and Metal, recycling today for tomorrow.
WSGW News Time 7:09. A water treatment plant in Sylvan Township was broken into Monday morning, and residents are being told not to drink the water at this time. There's no evidence the water is contaminated. However, authorities need time to run tests before confirming its safety. A witness saw the suspect, a 33-year-old man from Belleville, coming out of the building. It appears the suspect, who's now in custody, gained entrance by cutting through a barbed wire fence. He attempted to damage local infrastructure, tampered with system controls, spray-painted windows, and made a makeshift bed from items inside the plant. It's a new campaign to get people to slow down. The theme, Speeding Catches Up With You. Michigan News Network's Jeff Gilbert has this.
This guy was driving way over the speed limit.
Speeding caught up with more than 12,000 people who died in speed-related crashes in 2022. Deputy National Highway Traffic Safety Administrator Sophie Schulman says more than 300,000 were injured.
Speeding is stressful, it's inconsiderate to other drivers, and it makes you a danger to yourself, your passengers, and everyone else on the road.
The campaign includes increased enforcement on freeways and elsewhere, as 87% of speed-related deaths last year occurred on non-interstate highways. Jeff Gilbert, the Michigan News Network.
The state is auctioning off land later this summer. 91 properties are for sale. Land in more than 24 counties throughout Lower Michigan and the Upper Peninsula will be available through 11 online auctions between August 2nd and September 5th. Sizes range from under an acre to 160 acres. Anyone interested in bidding can find details at michigan.gov/land for sale. And Charlie, a new pro sports team is on the way to Detroit.
The Big Three Basketball League is adding a franchise in Detroit, joining the three other cities already named, LA, Miami, and Houston. Anthony Tomey, one of the ownership partners, on where fans can see the team in action in 2025.
We'd love to be in downtown Detroit. That makes a lot of sense for us. So what we're trying to do, hopefully we can make that all work between several different venues that we can choose from. I think the Big Three did play at LCA last year and had a really good crowd. We know there's a lot of interest from the city of Detroit, from Metro Detroit overall, the state of Michigan.
The name of this brand new organization is currently being discussed. Anthony mentioned that a fan vote is a possibility.
That's Michigan News Network's Jeremy Otto reporting.
I'm sorry, is it the Big Three?
The Big Three.
I
basketball.
Must tell you, I am not familiar. I'm
Me
gonna have
neither.
to look it up to find out more. We're just talking about a regular basketball league, or is there?
I guess they're going to
I
be the
don't
Big
know.
Four with a fourth team being added.
Well, if the Big Ten can be 100 teams in college football, it is 7:13 on WSGW. The Big Three. Forecast update on WSGW is from WNEM First Alert meteorologist Matthew Mondro.
Staying warm and muggy for this Tuesday. High of 85, dew points at 65 degrees or higher. We do expect dry weather through much of the morning and the early afternoon, but rainfall will start to move in from the south. So starting in Flint, sometime in the mid to late afternoon, right around 4 or 5 o'clock is when we could see those first showers. That leads into more rain for tonight, a low of 66, then only a high of 67 on Wednesday. Essentially an all-day rain for tomorrow as the remnants of Beryl move through. We have declared a first alert weather day for Wednesday due to the heavy heavy rainfall totals. We are expecting some accumulations by Wednesday night into Thursday morning to range from 2 to 4 inches. This does bring a flooding threat for fields and low-lying areas or areas prone to flooding. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matthew Mondro.
Your barometer of 2994, and it is continuing to rise. The southwest wind, averaging about 5 miles per hour right now. A 69 temperature reading at WSGW, your connection to the Great Lakes Bay region and your connection to the world. The big story is you're getting the references from the weather, the flood watches that'll kick in later tonight, and going all the way through the day tomorrow as the potentials are in that 2 to 4 inch range. Hopefully it's on the lesser of the range, especially since it's going to come, essentially about a 24-hour period, it sounds like. We'll keep monitoring. We'll keep you up to date here on WSGW. Just doing a quick check, by the way, on the Big Three. As far as I can tell, a 3-on-3 basketball league founded by hip-hop musician and actor Ice Cube.
That's what I'm seeing, too.
Okay. The rules contain deviations from the official rules of 3-on-3 basketball as administered by the FIBA. Okay.
Former NBA stars and some international players in there, too.
How did I miss this?
I don't know.
Well,
never heard of this before.
We'll find out if
it's
takes
coming
hold.
to Detroit.
Maybe we won't be missing it if it's in Detroit. Well, apparently it's been around for a few years anyway, and I'm sure there are others who are familiar with it. I guess I'm paying more attention to the regular basketball, let alone the Big Three. It's sports time on a WSGW. So let's talk what's happening in sports this morning. Let's talk Tigers baseball. For the Tigers last night, it was the first of a 4-game series against the first-place Cleveland Guardians. And this is a scoreless game into the 8th inning. Jake Rogers leads off the bottom of the 8th with a double. Winsel Perez singles him to third. Now he's out trying to go to second, probably thinking that perhaps Jake Rogers was going to try and score. Maybe the throw was going to come through, but it was cut off by the Guardians, and they got Perez at second. Now Rogers is still on third base with 1 out. Colt Keith walks, and Mark Kenna steps to the plate.
3-2, the count on Kenna, the pitch. Swinging the ground ball softly to short. Under the glove of Rocchio! Rogers in to score. And the Tigers take a 1-0 lead in the 8th. He was thinking about 2, but he didn't get 1.
How about that? The Tigers got that 1 run. That was all that was necessary. 1-0, the Tigers win. Cater Montero doesn't get the victory, but he got the start and went 6 1/3 strong innings of 3-hit baseball, a walk, 4 strikeouts. Tyler Holton picked up the W with a perfect 1 2/3 innings of relief, and Shelby Miller got the save in a perfect 9th. That's 4 straight for our Tiger team. Go for 5 in a row against the Guardians tonight, a 6:45 broadcast on 790 AM WSGW, and Kenta Maeda is going to be on the mound. Tigers made some roster moves, activating Javi Baez from the IL, sending down Ryan Kreidler, putting outfielder Parker Meadows on the IL, the hamstring injury, and calling up Akil Baddoo. Besides the Tigers shutout, there were 2 other shutouts in Major League Baseball last night, and both were 6-0 scores. St. Louis 6, Washington 0, Cincinnati 6, Colorado 0. In both games, 3 pitchers were used to combine for those shutouts. A couple of 11-inning games. Minnesota beats the White Sox 8-6, and Atlanta over Arizona 5-4 after the Braves tied the game with a home run in the 9th before winning it in the 11th. The Pirates beat the Mets 8-2. This game was tied at 2 in the 6th when the Pirates put 5 runs on the board. Texas over the Angels 9-4. Loons play baseball tonight, hosting the Fort Wayne Tin Caps. Should we say weather permitting? Hopefully. 7:05 at Dow Diamond. First of a 6-game series. Golf note, the PGA of America announcing yesterday that Keegan Bradley will be the captain of the next U.S. Ryder Cup team. Wimbledon, and the big story from the men's draw was American Taylor Fritz, who beat Alexander Zverev in 5 sets. Taylor dropped the first 2 sets and then won the next 3 to advance to the quarterfinals. Now, fellow American Tommy Paul, seeded number 12, he's also in the quarters. This is the first time since the year 2000, 24 years ago, The two American men have gone this deep into the Wimbledon tournament. Number 2 seed Novak Djokovic, he advanced in straight sets. From the women's draw, the American number 11 seed Danielle Collins, she's out. She lost her third round match. And the 2022 champion, Elena Rybakina, she moved into the quarterfinals when Anna Kalinskaya had to stop play because of a wrist injury. That's sports on the WSGW as we approach 7:20.
Ready to save big at the pump? Look no further than Fuel Rewards at one of our Forward Shell convenience stores. Save 10 cents per gallon when you buy one 10-ounce Old Trapper beef jerky, perfect for snacking on the go. Get another 10 cents off per gallon when you buy any 2 12-ounce Bubbler or Celsius sparkling waters to keep you refreshed while traveling. And save 15 cents per gallon when you buy any 2 16-ounce Shine waters. Fuel Rewards at your local Forward Shell convenience stores. Your family-owned Michigan tradition since 1925.
Applied Innovation customer Chris Pfeiffer, IT Director for Doran Mayhew, worked with Applied Innovation's team to streamline costs.
He actually sat down and listened to what we needed. We went through and looked at our usage for all of our devices across the office and came up with a solution together that has worked really well.
What did you and Applied Innovation come up with?
We actually consolidated everything down to 18 devices based on usage, based on volumes. So we were able to reduce the number of machines that we use, but increase their capacity. And then basically we cut our managed print services bill in half by doing that.
In half?
We went from almost $20,000 to $9,500 a month.
Wow, you're glad Applied Innovation came along.
It's been a wonderful relationship, and I plan on continuing it as long as I can.
Call Applied Innovation today, 800-521-0983, or visit appliedinnovation.com.
I'm not even sure I know how to explain this world record, this crazy world record that was set. Perhaps it's explainable in the first line of the story. A Las Vegas man who works as a sideshow artist. That should tell you right there. Charlie, Mike, Jonathan, and you here on WSGW, your morning team. Mike's off. Jonathan is officially in the newsroom this morning. Time is 7:21. I will post the video link on the morning team page if you go to WSGW.com and scroll down for that red section which highlights shows. Look for the morning team circle. Click on it. Today's date being July 9, 2024. Every day we put a page up according to the date. So what we do on air, you can also check out online. We do our best to provide those links and podcasts, conversations, and pictures and such. This is a certified Guinness World Record. The man's name is Andrew Stanton, and he appeared on an Italian TV show. And it says here he was trying to break the records, which means there are records that were already set, for the heaviest weight pulled with your eye sockets.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've heard of teeth.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of like nose, like eye sockets.
There is video. This is from an Italian TV show. What I love in here, if you can see, I'll start it up. The audience members and their reaction is kind of the same reaction I think all of us have. Check out the guy putting these devices in his eye sockets, leaning back. The audience is basically turning away.
Everybody's cringing already.
Yes.
It hasn't even started yet.
And he leans back, and what he pulls is a Cadillac with a driver inside, 5,319.75 pounds. He pulls it across the TV stage with his eye sockets.
Okay.
And then, for an encore, he becomes the person who is the first holder. I guess he set this own record himself, and I can understand why. As he uses the hooks once again in his eye sockets.
Officially amazing. Very impressive.
Yeah, amazing. All right, getting the certificate. He lifts up his assistant, who weighs about 130 pounds, and he does so with a sword that he's swallowing.
Oh.
So not only does he swallow a sword, but once again, he hooks up his eye sockets and he lifts up his assistant. And there's the music on that.
Oh, he's lifting
Yeah, her
up with his eye sockets
while
swallowing a sword.
Yes.
Huh. I mean, it's impressive, I guess.
It's, as I said, perhaps the first line of the story, a Las Vegas man who works as a sideshow artist. That kind of explains it right there.
Explains a lot, yeah.
So my first question, and it's a question I think that comes up often when you find people who do these kinds of things. How do you discover that you can do that in the first place? What compels you to decide that you're going to use your eye sockets to try and pull something heavy? Did you see somebody else doing it? Which
could be.
Which begs the question, even if you did, where did that person learn it from?
You got to think like this takes training and like practice to work up to this kind of thing. So he's obviously been doing this for a while.
And didn't you have friends say, don't do that. That's crazy. Your eye sockets, you're going to hurt yourself.
Use your hands.
There must have been some alcohol involved in the first attempt. Or some kind of substance. I don't know. If you want to check it out, again, I put the video link up on our morning team page. It's as you said, I mean, I suppose it's impressive, but it's like crazy at the same time. It's crazy impressive.
The more I think about it, the more uncomfortable I get.
Yeah. Again, it's just fun to watch the audience members turn away as they're about to see what they're going to see. I don't know. And I described it as talent. Is it talent or is it just?
I think it's talent. It's something that he obviously worked on.
Yeah.
It's a weird one.
Couldn't take up piano lessons. Good. That's the talent I think of. We have Bill O'Reilly coming up next. Democrats, he says, continue to fight amongst themselves over President Biden. Bill's commentary is coming up.
Mike here from Westside Decorating Center with an unbeatable promotion on our granite and quartz countertops. At Westside, we're committed to enhancing your home. So for the entire month of July, enjoy free tear out of your old laminate counters, free edge upgrades, and incredible discounts on a wide range of granite and quartz counters. Upgrade your space with style and savings. Visit us today at 5789 State Street in Saginaw Township, or check us out online at westsidedecoratingcenter.com.
This has always been a farming community, and folks here, we want to keep it that way. There's a saying that a farmer's last crop is housing. When they get to the end of the farm's life, they sell it and develop it. With solar projects, that's one more crop they can harvest, generating a stable income for them and tax revenue for our community. We would hate to see this place become another suburbia, and this way we don't have to. A solar farm is still a farm, and that's what we want around here.
Fuel for Thought, presented by the American Clean Power Association.
The Art Lewis Show, weekday mornings at 9 on 100.5 and 790. News Radio WSGW.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. CarShield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Tuesday, 50 years ago, 1974, everybody was kung fu fighting. Remember that song? According to singer Carl Douglas, it was a little bit frightening. Well, today the kung fu is gone, but the fighting remains. We are in the middle of one of the most fractious presidential races in history. It's not just the usual Democrat-Republican brawl. With rapidly aging Joe Biden as president, Dems have turned against each other. The Biden loyalists are okay with the big guy despite constant cognitive embarrassments. There are many reasons for their support, none of them cogent. It's all about emotion, not reality. President Biden is not well, is declining right before our eyes. Fact. And many Democrats understand the implications of that fact. So they are fighting their own compatriots over the nominating process going forward. The Biden loyalists will most likely lose. The Obama wing of the Democratic Party, which wants Joe out, has more power. The holdup is Jill Biden, who wants to keep her power. Joe does what Jill tells him to do. The fight will peak sometime soon as the liberal media turns on Joe and Jill. It's all a fascinating exposition of power, corruption, and selfishness, and more than a little bit frightening. Back after this. You can now watch new episodes of the No Spin News live on Samsung TV Plus. Tune in each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV for breaking news, honest analysis, and the best election coverage in America. Please join me, Bill O'Reilly, at the First TV, now available on Samsung TV Plus. Start watching today on your Samsung television, Galaxy devices, or the Samsung TV Plus mobile app. Check out the No Spin News each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV, Samsung TV Plus. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
Hi, this is Art Lewis. McDonald Ford in Freeland is my dealer of choice. They should be yours, too. Stop in and visit them at 6790 Midland Road in Freeland. McDonald Ford.
It's summertime. This July 9, enjoying some hot, humid days. Have another one. Maybe a little coolish for a day tomorrow, but more hot on the way, we know, especially into the upcoming weekend. So when I think of something cool like hockey, hey, coming up, we're going to say some hockey fun that ties together both our Saginaw Spirit and Detroit Red Wings. And since we have ties to both, I'll have a little fun with that coming up. Also, a reminder of fun that we're having today with an event that we tried to have fun with a couple of weeks ago, but got weather interrupted. We'll have that for you with your morning team in view, and Charlie and Mike and Jonathan. Weather forecast today is for a high about 85. It's dry now, but the expectations of wet later. A lot of wet. This forecast, or this news, I should say, being brought to you by Wolf Files Ace Hardware, 5818 State Street in Saginaw, where personal service still exists. In the newsroom for Mike Percha, here's Jonathan Dent.
Thank you, Charlie. Good morning, everybody. A crash in Bay City involving an unoccupied vehicle resulted in only minor injuries and an arrest Saturday. MLive reports that a 58-year-old Bay City man crashed his 2013 Chevy Volt into a parked vehicle while driving south in the 1000 block of South Winona Avenue. Authorities say the man's vehicle rolled onto its passenger side and he needed to be extracted by firefighters. The driver was taken to a local hospital for treatment, then arrested and lodged in the Bay County Jail. The unoccupied vehicle was a 2024 Chevy Equinox owned by a woman from Illinois. The man faces a charge of third offense, operating while intoxicated. Authorities are investigating an apparent fireworks accident that killed a 32-year-old man in Genesee County on the 4th of July. Police responded to the 1200 block of Van Fleet Road in Clayton Township around 9 p.m., where the man had suffered a head injury from a firework. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The incident is still under investigation, and the State of Michigan Fireworks Enforcement Division is assisting. Authorities say alcohol and drugs do not appear to be factors. Over 50 artists will gather at Ojibwe Island for the Saginaw Art Fair next month. WSGW's Christiana Malacara has more.
The fair will take place on Friday, August 9th and 10th, beginning at 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. Artists will include ceramics, fabric art, jewelry, and more, and also have a collection of local artists and artists from across the state. This event is free and open to the public to attend. The first 40 attendees can participate in the free scheduled art activities beginning at 10 a.m., 1 o'clock, and 3 o'clock each day. Activities include tie-dye bandanas, printmaking, and poured paint classes, live music performances, and food trucks available both days. More information can be found at Saginaw Art Fair Facebook page. This is Christiana Malagara, News Radio 100.5 and 790.
WSGW News Time, 7:33.
Some people are just obsessed with their lawns. They'd cut their grass with a pair of scissors if they could. Thanks to Gravely, they don't have to. You see, Gravely makes not only the best built and most comfortable lawnmowers, but they also leave your house looking like a doggone country club. So whether you're a commercial landscaper wanting the best or just a perfectionist homeowner, you can't do better than a Gravely.
Stop in today and see what we mean. Gravely Mowers at Wolfhouse Ace Hardware in Saginaw. Remember, some zero-turn riding lawnmowers concentrate on performance. Others stay focused on comfort. But whoever said it's an either-or situation? With Gravely, you get plenty of both. And the ProTurn 300 is a perfect example. This newly designed mower is loaded with innovative features and is designed to keep the operator mowing comfortably from dawn to dusk. The Gravely ProTurn 300. The right balance of comfort and performance. See the complete line of Gravely zero-turn mowers at Wolfhouse Ace Hardware, 5818 State Street in Saginaw. And Wolfhouse services what they sell. Wolfhouse, where customer service still exists. Open 7 days.
WSGW News Time, 7:34. The court-appointed monitor for the United Auto Workers says in a court filing that he's investigating allegations that union president Shawn Fain retaliated against a subordinate. The motion filed by the monitor, attorney Neil Borofsky, says he's looking into allegations that in May, Fain removed UAW Vice President Rich Boyer as head of the Stellantis department because of Boyer's refusal to take actions that would have benefited Fain's domestic partner and her sister. Fain has said Boyer was removed because of a dereliction of duty. Boyer has accused Fain of attacking his character. The city of Detroit says they'll crack down on block parties after 2 people were killed and 19 others hurt during a shooting over the weekend. WSGW's John Hewitt has this.
Saying this tragedy does not represent the city of Detroit, Police Chief James White outlined next steps to try and bring the illegal block parties and associated violence under control, starting with the use of what the chief called neighborhood response team patrols.
Simply put, on Thursdays, at least one car out of service that will just drive through the neighborhoods and essentially be looking for this illegal activity.
The chief saying since the 4th of July, the city of Detroit has experienced 6 separate shooting incidents at block parties, the latest coming Sunday morning on the east side that left 2 dead and 19 others injured. John Hewitt for the Michigan News Network.
Expect a lot of rain starting tonight. The remnants of Tropical Storm Beryl is heading our way. National Weather Service meteorologist Ernie Ostuno says 3 to 5 inches of rain are possible.
So it's bringing quite a bit of moisture north with it. Typically, these can produce flooding inland well away from the coast, and that's always a threat with these. Fortunately, it's moving pretty fast.
He says the storm is tracking from Grand Rapids to Saginaw, with the rain impacting areas south of that line. And Charlie, after electrical issues sidelined the SS Badger car ferry between Michigan and Wisconsin, the ship is now back in service. The Badger will return to Cross Lake service this morning. A spokesperson for the Lake Michigan car ferry apologized for any inconvenience, saying engineers and electricians worked around the clock to complete the repairs. The ship was sidelined for 2 days while repairs were made to a portion of its electrical system.
You said it's back in service this morning?
At 9 a.m., it goes back into service.
All right. No doubt folks will be ready and lined up to take it. It is weather time on WSGW at 7:37. The forecasting being brought to you by Reamer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning on State Street in Saginaw Township. That's Reamer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. With WNEM First Alert Meteorologist Matthew Mondro.
Staying warm and muggy for this Tuesday. High of 85, dew points at 65 degrees or higher. We do expect dry weather through much of the morning and the early afternoon, but rainfall will start to move in from the south. So starting in Flint, sometime in the mid to late afternoon, right around 4 or 5 o'clock is when we could see those first showers. That leads into more rain for tonight, a low of 66, then only a high of 67 on Wednesday. Essentially an all-day rain for tomorrow as the remnants of Beryl move through. We have declared a first alert weather day for Wednesday due to the heavy rainfall totals. We are expecting some accumulations by Wednesday night into Thursday morning to range from 2 to 4 inches. This does bring a flooding threat for fields and low-lying areas or areas prone to flooding. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matthew Mondro.
The rising barometer is 2994. The southwest wind is 5. It's 69 degrees from WSGW. Your connection to the Great Lakes Bay region and your connection to the world. Yeah, flood watches officially kicking in tonight through tomorrow night. basically from here, everything into the thumb and to the south. And 2 on the low end, maybe 4 inches or a little bit more on the higher end. The more south you go, the more potential for some of the higher amounts. This is a system that's moving from south into the north. We'll keep on monitoring for you and bring you any additional updates as need be. Suffice to say, just be prepared, especially for some of the potential of the flooding that would take place and some of the water buildup, especially in low-lying areas. 7:38 is the time on WSGW. Experience. It makes a difference in a lot of ways, especially when you are trying to sell your home. An experienced real estate agent who knows how to navigate, especially through the current real estate market, that's invaluable. The value you will find in the service that you'll have with Mark Griskowiak, Mark G, Century 21 Signature Realty, I think that you will discover is something that's going to help you get your home sold as fast as possible and for as much money as possible. He'll also offer that home sales guarantee, which nobody else will offer you when it comes to the real estate market. His experience that he has in knowing the market, knowing how to get homes sold, is what sets Mark apart from the rest. I mean, experience is what a homeowner in Freeland recently found, and there was a home on Tittabawassee Road in Freeland that got sold, and it got sold fast and for top dollar. Could be Freeland, could be Saginaw, could be any place in the Great Lakes Bay region. Mark Griskowiak, when you're looking to sell your home, will get your home sold for you. The experience is what I would want if I'm selling my home. That's why I would call Mark Griskowiak, and that's why I'm telling you to call Mark Griskowiak for his experience. The home sales guarantee, yeah, it's part of the experience. When Mark sits down with you and agrees on a price and a deadline, if the deadline passes and the home isn't sold, Mark will have it bought for cash. If you don't think he's doing the job, you get out of the contract free and clear. Well, Mark's been doing the job for a lot of years, and he's got a lot of experience. So find out by making a phone call and get yourself selling your home with Mark Griskowiak today. 989-781-6979. That's 989-781-6979. And experience the experience of Mark G.
Sell your home easy. Just call Mark G. Go to markghomes.com.
Is your basement finished? Protect your investment with a battery or water-powered sump pump. Talk to the experts at Reamer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. 989-792-8738.
I'm Paul Young, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Build the wall. Deport illegals. Put America first. That's Paul Young's plan. The conservative choice for Congress. Pro-Trump and proud of it. Paul Young will secure our border and bring back Michigan jobs. Young served in President Trump's administration, enforcing immigration law to keep illegals out. That's why Young's been with Trump since 2016 and never wavered. But Mary Draves, she serves Democrats. Gretchen Whitmer handpicked Draves to her climate council to push tax hikes and mandates on Michiganders. It's no wonder why Draves backed Biden's Green New Deal and opposed Trump's policies to protect American workers. Draves even donated to Trump-hating Democrats who tried to impeach him. We can't trust Mary Draves to stand with Trump, and Michigan can't afford to send her to Congress. Paid for by Paul Young for Congress.
Hey, it is WSGW and you. You with Charlie and Mike and Jonathan, though Jonathan is in the newsroom officially for Mike this morning on 100.5 and on 790. Siri and Alexa and WSGW.com, the online listening, as well as the studio support from Stormmaster Exteriors. Stormmaster Exteriors, your ultimate solution when it comes to the windows and the roofing and the siding and the gutters and the decking that you need and more. Online, find StormmasterExteriors.com. Find your morning team sponsor online, too. That's paintbullrepair.com. Paint Bulls on Bay Road north of Shattuck and Saginaw. Rust proofing, interior detailing, graphene coatings, and more. Paint Bull does it for you. Your morning team sponsor is Paint Bull on Bay Road north of Shattuck and Saginaw. And online, it's paintbullrepair.com. 7:43. Reminder, and we'll find out more next hour when we check in. Art Lewis has a special broadcast this morning. He'll be with Carol Thomas, attorney specializing in elder law. And that'll be coming up at 9 o'clock. And again, we'll find out more with Art Lewis when we talk to him next hour from his broadcast location. We are looking forward to golf this morning, the WSGW Invitational. Remember a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the Invitational golf outing actually taking place, but it didn't. Got rained out. Well, the rain is supposed to arrive after golf today. At the Sawmill, we appreciate the Sawmill working with us for our Invitational. Westside Decorating presenting the Invitational, powered by Branham's Jewelry. The $10,000 hole-in-one opportunity from Buck Insurance in Freeland, longest drive sponsor of JJ's Roadhouse. The prizes, including the overnight stays and golf at Shanty Creek Resorts and so much more with a lot of the businesses that are participating. Our closest to the pin contest who were able to adjust their schedules since we couldn't do it 2 weeks ago, ready to golf again with all our other listeners who purchased their entries and business associates. Looking for fun today, looking for some great golf. Well, then again, knowing some who are golfing, just looking for golf. Others will provide the great at the Sawmill on Midland Road there, M47, for the Invitational officially taking place today. 7:45 on WSGW. Again, with Charlie and Mike and Jonathan. No, with Jonathan off. And in the newsroom, we have Mike Perch is off. Jonathan Dent is in the newsroom. Mike will be back with us tomorrow.
I followed that.
Yeah. Get your scorecard out. Yeah. That's all I can say. It is summer. Boy, how's that for a factual statement, huh? On this July 9th, and you're thinking warm temperatures, hot conditions, and, being outdoors and things like that. But we're going to talk cool conditions and being indoors and enjoying hockey.
That's pretty cool.
We have something that's pretty cool, speaking of that actually you discovered, Jonathan, that we wanted to bring to our listeners' attention, especially since it ties together hockey in ways that we have for listeners involving both our Saginaw Spirit and Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, we carry both the Spirit and the Red Wings games all seasons long, including summer, apparently, if we're talking about it now. But the Red Wings development camp took place last week and over the weekend a little bit. And part of that development camp was a 3v3 tournament. I think there were 4 teams or something like that, maybe more. But Andrew Oak from the Saginaw Spirit, the goaltender who played all but 30 seconds of the Memorial Cup for the Saginaw Spirit, was invited to their development camp. I think that's his second time going to the Red Wings development camp. And I think it's great because he's a Michigan native. I think he's from Sterling Heights. And the Wings have a lot of Michigan natives on the team. And man, I'd love to see him signed by the Red Wings. Anyway,
it would be fun. I mean, just to tie that together, but then again, tying the Spirit together. What
Yeah.
a nice, it would be fun.
Oh, absolutely. He was in the final game of this 3-on-3 tournament, and it was 2-1. The other team had pulled their goaltender. There were 30 seconds remaining, and he made a fantastic save. And I'm blanking on the name. Ken Cal was calling the game in a YouTube stream, so we got to hear the play-by-play voice of the Red Wings call an Andrew Oak highlight, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Good enough. Opportunity 2-on-1 the other way. Pass it from Raklovsky with a
save.
chance. Oh, a great
Wow.
pass save by
What
the
a pass, what a
goaltender.
save.
Back to Whipple with a shot through traffic wide of the goal. That was a game-saving save right there. 4 seconds left. Time to tie it up, perhaps. Into the corner. Finney backhands it. And what a save to prevent the tie
Wouldn't
by
that be
Andrew
something?
Oak. And what a victory for the team of Micus Brutes.
I didn't even know that Ken Kell was calling some of those games at the development camp. That was fun.
If you find the video on YouTube, it was live streamed, and you can see the live chat going by. And of course, there's people bickering and having arguments. But when that save gets made, you can see a few people in the chat go, "Whoa, that was great!" So it's just an exciting thing to have Ken Cal calling a Spirit player highlight. It's just fun to hear and fun to connect those two things.
Well, it's fun to have that opportunity to tie together the two, since again we have that tie with the broadcast of both which if you check your calendar, I don't want to rush things.
Yeah,
but
it's not too long.
It's really not that far off.
But now Andrew Oak has two, I'm sure, equally as prestigious titles under his belt: Memorial Cup champion and Red Wings Development Camp 3-on-3 tournament champion.
It's a lot of fun. And we'll find out more, of course, of how that is going to play out. And other Spirit players who are appearing in some other NHL development camps for themselves.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I didn't pull it up. I know, I believe Jorian Donovan went to the Senators. Owen Beck went to the Canadiens. Josh Bloom went to, or maybe Josh Bloom went to the Canadiens. They both went to Canadian teams. Zane Parekh, who was drafted 9th overall, went to the Calgary Flames. Caleb Mangoni went to one of the development camps, which I was excited to see. But all in all, I think there were 12 Spirit players. And I don't have the full list in front of me right now. But
that's okay. That's pretty good coming off the top of your head.
Yeah.
I was pretty impressed. A couple of those I remembered. Some of those I did not know that Mangoni. That's fun to hear. And just the other day, Parekh signed that contract too.
Yep.
Got his contract with the Flames going. So just, the aftermath of the fun and the excitement, which is still very much as part of the Saginaw Spirit from last season, going into the coming season, because of course, when it comes to the first game, you have a chance to relive it all with that raising of the championship banner at the first home game of the Dow Event Center. So lots more to come on that. Well, thank you for finding that.
It's
too.
exciting.
It is. That was a lot of fun. In our podcast segment, we'll see if we can find the YouTube video you're talking about, but certainly we have the audio that'll be part of our podcast segment. We'll post on our Morning Team page. It is time to go up to the hour now, up to the minute news and business and weather and sports. The time of 7:51.
From Michigan News Source, I'm Cheryl Fritz. Our top story this hour: Tunnel to Towers, a New York-based nonprofit, will pay off the mortgage of slain Hillsdale County Sheriff Deputy William Bill Butler. The organization runs a program called Fallen First Responder Home Program, specifically designed and funded to pay off the mortgages of homes of first responders who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Butler was killed on June 27th during a traffic stop in Hillsdale County. The shooter was a passenger in the car who was wanted on warrants. The passenger pulled out a gun and shot the deputy when Butler attempted to place the 34-year-old under arrest. Hours later, Eric Fiddler opened fire on police. When they attempted to arrest him, he was shot and killed. A murder in Genesee County over the weekend. Jim Lee Hockey has the story.
The Genesee County Sheriff's Office is investigating a deadly shooting that occurred Saturday in Fenton Township. Deputies responded to an apartment on Thompson and Jennings Roads around 5:49 p.m. where they found Orhan Hosek shot multiple times. Neighbors say they heard sounds like gunshots around 3 p.m. Hosek's family came over to the apartment a couple hours later and discovered his body. From Michigan News Source, I'm Jim Lee Hockey.
The U.S. Coast Guard rescued 5 people found clinging to a cooler about 10 miles from the shores of Ohio in Lake Erie, according to a social media post from the agency. The incident occurred Saturday after their 22-foot boat was swamped by a wave, tossing the entire group into the water. One member of the group was able to call 911, and the rescue was captured on camera about 11:30 in the morning. They were all wearing life jackets, and there were no medical issues, the Coast Guard reported. For Michigan News Source, I'm Cheryl Fritz.
And Charlie, coming up at 8 o'clock, CBS will have our national and international news. Then we'll be back here in the WSGW newsroom with more state and local news.
Just minutes away from that news at 8 o'clock on WSGW, as we continue going up to the hour now and up to the minute with your Fox Business Report, which is being brought to you by the Anderson Group at R.W. Baird in Saginaw. You can, on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11:30, and Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11:50, hear the stock market reports and the ticker tips of Steve, David, and Teresa of R.W. Baird in Saginaw. Call 989-790-5724. Online, visit saginaw.bairdwealth.com. Spelling Baird, B-A-I-R-D, saginaw.bairdwealth.com. It is 7:54.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
BP shares are slumping. The energy giant is warning that its earnings will be impacted as it makes less from refining. BP said this spring it was pulling back capacity because of weaker demand. ExxonMobil also has said it will be impacted. Morgan Stanley's top advisor, Michael Wilson, is predicting the market will see a 10% correction between now and the election. Wilson says a correction is highly likely because of uncertainty surrounding U.S. politics, corporate earnings, and Federal Reserve policy. Fed Chair Jerome Powell testifies on Capitol Hill today and tomorrow. It's Powell's semi-annual testimony. Investors continue to express optimism about Japan's markets. The Nikkei stock index rose to a record close today. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda, invested in you.
Hi, I'm Ron Kraszewski, Chairman and CEO of Stifel. Financial advisors, let's face it, if you're not growing your practice, you're losing market share. Stifel is a growing, entrepreneurial, advisor-centric firm built for successful advisors like you. There's a reason why 148 financial advisors joined Stifel last year. Come join us and find out why Stifel is the firm where success meets success. Visit www.choosestifel.com.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Going up to the hour and that up to the minute weather. It is WNEM First Alert Meteorologist Matthew Mondro at 7:55.
Staying warm and muggy for this Tuesday. High of 85, dew points at 65 degrees or higher. We do expect dry weather through much of the morning and the early afternoon, but rainfall will start to move in from the south. So starting in Flint, sometime in the mid to late afternoon, right around 4 or 5 o'clock is when we could see those first showers. That leads into more rain for tonight, a low of 66, then only a high of 67 on Wednesday. Essentially an all-day rain for tomorrow as the remnants of Beryl move through. We have declared a first alert weather day for Wednesday due to the heavy rainfall totals. We are expecting some accumulations by Wednesday night into Thursday morning to range from 2 to 4 inches. This does bring a flooding threat for fields and low-lying areas or areas prone to flooding. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matthew Mondro.
Your barometer, it is rising at 2994. Your wind is southwest at 5. 69 degrees at WSGW, your connection to the Great Lakes Bay region and your connection to the world. With that up to the hour, up to the minute sports, that's coming up for you next.
Hey, Bob, how about another burger? Coming up.
Who knew Bob was such a grill master?
Yeah, and his team organized all the games for the kids.
Hey, guys, I think we can get you a better auto loan rate.
Wow.
That's great. It's what we do.
At Copoco Community Credit Union, we're your neighbors, living next door and throughout your community. Whether through nonprofit community events or just a neighborhood get-together, Copoco Community Credit Union, your neighbor for all your banking needs. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Get ready to rock your summer with Saginaw Eagles Landing Casino and Hotel's free Tribute to Summer concert series. On July 11th, relive the glory days with The Rock Show, the ultimate tribute to Journey. Tommy K's vocals will make you feel like it's Steve Perry himself. Don't forget your lawn chairs and blankets. Gates open at 5 p.m. Show starts at 7 p.m. Plus get $10 in premium play for attending. Saginaw Eagles Landing Casino and Hotel. Real fun, real friendly.
Going up to the hour with your up-to-the-minute sports on WSGW at 7:58. Hey, our Tigers defeating Cleveland 1-0 last night. A scoreless game until the bottom of the 8th. And the Tigers, thanks to a Cleveland error, scored what proved to be the game's only run. Great pitching performance from Keter Montero, the youngster. Didn't get the decision, but went the first 6 1/3 innings of shutout baseball. Tyler Holton, the win. Shelby Miller, the save. And perfect in relief, the two were. Tigers have won 4 straight, go for 5 in a row tonight. Tigers and Guardians, 6:45 broadcast on 790 AM WSGW. Tigers activating Javi Baez from the IL, sending down Ryan Kreidler and calling up Akil Baddoo after having to put Parker Meadows on the IL. Great Lakes Loons didn't play last night. It was an off night, but ready for a 6-game series to start tonight against the Fort Wayne Tin Caps. This series at Dow Diamond. PGA of America announced yesterday that Keegan Bradley will be captain of the next U.S. Ryder Cup team. At Wimbledon, the fun story for the Americans is the number 13 men's seed Taylor Fritz beats Alexander Zverev in 5 sets to advance to the quarterfinals. He joins fellow American Tommy Paul, who seeded 12th in the quarterfinals. First time that the Americans have had 2 men in quarterfinal play at Wimbledon since the year 2000. Up to the hour, up to the minute sports on WSGW. It's 7:59.
Hackers are targeting small to mid-sized businesses and holding their data hostage. The answer? NetSmart Plus from Applied Innovation. Protect your network with NetSmart Plus from Applied Innovation.
What's the most important part of a retirement plan?
Income is king because we all need income. And if you don't have an income plan, you don't have a retirement plan.
That's Kevin Ray, financial coach at Insight Folios. Kevin tells his listeners every week about the importance of income planning, minimizing taxes, and strategies to lead a worry-free retirement. Learn all about that and get your own complimentary financial review by calling 888-885-PLAN. That's 888-885-7526.
If you like a good story about a golf course that was almost given up for dead, but then a community effort rallied around to bring it back to life, you'll love this week's edition of Michigan Golf Live Radio as we broadcast from the newly renovated, rejuvenated Timber Trace in Pinckney. Join us Saturday for that story and more on Michigan Golf Live. Saturday from 1 to 3 on 100.5 and 790 AM News Radio WSGW.
On to the news. The 8 o'clock hour ready to start now on WSGW.
Broadcasting from the Stormmaster Exterior Studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW FM, Carlton.
Questioning the president's health.
The White House has not been able to stymie the conversation.
Storm destruction.
The world has certainly taken its path across West Houston.
Alec Baldwin on trial.
Baldwin was holding the gun when it fired, but maintains his innocence.
Good morning. I'm Steve Kathan. With the CBS World News Roundup, we've heard from President Biden's personal doctor amid questions over several visits by a neurologist to the White House. CBS's Nancy Cordes says it all comes as the president insists he's in the 2024 race to stay.
White House officials initially declined to say Monday why Dr. Kevin Kennard, a neurologist and Parkinson's specialist, had visited the White House 8 times in 8 months.
Has the president been treated for Parkinson's? No. Is he being treated for Parkinson's? No, he's not. Is he taking medication for Parkinson's? No.
But late last night, the president's personal doctor revealed that while Dr. Kennard was the neurological specialist that examined Biden for each of his annual physicals, President Biden has not seen a neurologist outside of his annual physical, and that Kennard sees a variety of patients and problems when visiting the White House medical unit. Several Senate Democrats said yesterday they want more time after last month's debate to see how things go for Biden.
A lot of folks are raising some questions they need to get asked, but at the end of the day, we got to beat Donald Trump.
Congressman Adam Smith is one of the 9 House Democrats who say they've seen enough.
We would be better off with another nominee. I believe that in my heart, my soul, my brain. I'm 100% convinced of that.
Biden's opponent, Donald Trump, has been keeping a low profile without any public appearances in 11 days. He resurfaced last night in an interview with Sean Hannity on Fox News.
It looks to me like he may very well stay in. He's got an ego and he doesn't want to quit.
At least 8 deaths are blamed on Beryl, the hurricane that slammed Texas and is now a tropical depression. CBS's Janet Shamlian is in Houston.
A path of destruction after Beryl unleashed a barrage of severe weather as it moved inland. Timpson, Texas, where the roof of the city hall was ripped off.
We have roof damage. We have ceiling tiles coming out. We have lines down. It's a mess.
A massive tree fell on Haley Laredo's home in Houston, killing her 73-year-old mother-in-law, who was in bed.
My son was screaming, "Grandma," because he saw me crying and telling my husband, "Go check on your mom." But Grandma, he said, "Call 911.
Down trees littered streets from winds gusting up to 90 miles an hour and torrential rain. Power outages top more than 2.5 million, and it could be days before it's all restored. Parts of downtown Houston flooded, and some areas saw almost 10 inches. That's more than 2 months of rainfall in one day.
Correspondent Carter Evans has the latest now on the deadly heat wave that has 140 million people under alerts from coast to coast.
Most of the western U.S. is facing excessive heat warnings, but the dangerously high temperatures extend all the way to the East Coast. It was so hot in New York City, the 3rd Avenue bridge to the Bronx expanded too much and got stuck open. And in Oregon, authorities are investigating 4 deaths they say could be related to the oppressive triple-digit temperatures.
Check in on your neighbors and your friends and your family members.
In Las Vegas, about half the patients in the burn unit at University Medical Center are being treated for pavement burns.
The pavement, 163 degrees. How long does it take for someone to get burned when the pavement's that hot?
Just a few seconds, you can get a 2nd-degree burn from that. And in a few minutes, you can get a 3rd-degree burn.
Jury selection begins today in the trial of actor Alec Baldwin. He's charged in connection with the fatal shooting on the set of the movie Rust. CBS's Elise Preston says it comes a day after a preliminary hearing.
Alec Baldwin sat with his shoulders slumped as prosecutors argued their case against him.
He knew or should have known of the risk when he pointed the gun at someone, cocked it, and pulled the trigger.
The 66-year-old movie star is charged with involuntary manslaughter in the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Baldwin was rehearsing a scene when the gun went off.
I take the gun out slowly. I turn, I cock the pistol, bang, it goes off. She hits the ground.
Baldwin's attorneys argue he didn't know the gun had live rounds in it, and he never actually pulled the trigger.
There is zero evidence in this case that Miss Hutchins would have died if there were a blank in that gun.
Attorney Gloria Allred, who is representing Hutchins's family in a separate civil case, says Baldwin should be held accountable for her death.
This is not just a movie. It's a workplace. And people should know that they are safe when they come on that set.
It's the Tuesday morning World News Roundup from CBS News, and it's 5 minutes after the hour.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility, great pay, and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here. Probably. Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
For a second day, rescue teams in Ukraine's capital are going through the wreckage at a children's hospital hit by a Russian missile attack. The strike interrupted surgeries and forced cancer patients to be treated outdoors. Ukraine says at least 38 people were killed in stepped-up attacks in Kyiv yesterday. That war is a talking point at the NATO summit getting underway in Washington. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
Ukraine may dominate the discussions along with the threats to the military alliance from Russia and China, but politics will also take center stage with a new prime minister in Britain, President Biden in an election battle, and political turmoil in France.
For the second time in 4 months, a wheel has fallen off a United Airlines jet during takeoff. Transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
The FAA says it's investigating after a United 757 bound for Denver lost a wheel off of its main landing gear while taking off from Los Angeles International Airport. Another plane on the ground said they saw the wheel bounce in front of their aircraft.
The plane landed safely in Denver. Closing arguments today in the corruption trial of New Jersey Democratic Senator Bob Menendez. CBS News legal contributor Rebecca Royfeet.
Prosecutors have been using this line that Menendez put power up for sale. The defense has said that Senator Menendez was simply doing his job. He was unaware of the money that was coming in largely to his wife.
Well, the clear number one song in the U.S. this week is... A bar song, Tipsy by Shabuzi, tops the Billboard Hot 100 and the country chart. The first song by a black male artist to do that. Time on the roundup, 8 past the hour.
It is 8:08, WSGW and you for a Tuesday. Temperature could be pushing 85 today. We expect dry for the next couple of hours. Eventually later on this afternoon, especially into the evening. Well, that's when apparently wet will be around. Right now the temp is 71. And the forecast outline what's potentially going to be going on. That's on the way. Tuesday, a little Tigers talk coming up. Looking forward to it with our Tigers broadcast and Red Wings reporter Daniela Bruce. We were just talking about the Red Wings in our last portion of the morning team show, and maybe it's appropriate since, well, we'll be talking Tigers that we have a chance to ask Daniela's perspective on the Red Wings development camp since she was there. That's on the way. Of course, more news on the way right now in the WSGW newsroom, and in for Mike Percha this morning. In the newsroom, here's Jonathan Dent.
Thank you, Charlie. Good morning, everybody. A search and rescue for a missing man on Lake Huron has turned into a search for the person who abandoned the small boat. Saturday night, a Caseville patrol boat and the Coast Guard found an abandoned Zodiac-type boat driving in circles near the Inner Thumb region of the state. They assumed the driver was missing in the water. However, Huron County Sheriff's Office now believes the 45-year-old Lansing man was ejected from the boat, swam to shore, and neglected to tell anyone. By yesterday morning, the boat had run out of gas and drifted to shore. Police began looking for information on the owner, who they contacted and said was okay, but decided not to call it in. The sheriff said alcohol appears to have been a factor, and they're looking to take action for the carelessness of the owner. A pool at a Saginaw Township elementary school will likely get some repairs thanks to a $1.9 million grant from the state of Michigan. The pool at Sherwood Elementary closed in February of 2022 because of a broken dehumidification unit that caused mold and structural problems in the pool building. Before its closure, the pool hosted programs for school children and community members for over 35 years. The school district had put together a rehabilitation plan but wasn't able to use money from its general fund because the pool is not used for day-to-day K-12 instruction. State Representative Amos O'Neill secured the funding in the 2025 state budget, which is awaiting Governor Whitmer's signature. The school hopes to release a roadmap for reopening the pool once the funds are made available in the fall. A Saginaw County man became an instant millionaire after purchasing an ultimate instant game ticket worth $4 million. The 52-year-old winner bought his ticket at the Fastlane convenience store in Saginaw. The player, who chose to remain anonymous, says he thought the lottery scanner was broken until he scratched the ticket and found out how much he'd won. He chose to receive his prize as a one-time lump sum payment of about $2.7 million. With his winning, the man says he plans to purchase land and invest. WSGW News Time, 8:11.
Saginaw's Truck Center is doing it again. Wilson Ford Lincoln has made a volume commitment, and Jim Wilson, from the looks of your lot, Ford Motor Company is storing trucks here.
We have the best selection of F-Series trucks we've had, and it's safe to say we have your truck in stock.
I see acres of crew cabs, Broncos, Mavericks, and everyone is drastically reduced.
Ford trucks have been America's most popular truck 47 years running, and right now they're discounted as much as 20% and offering huge factory rebates alongside the year's best lease payments.
Jim, can I get a truck for $300 per month?
Even lower. With our volume discount pricing and great lease deals from Ford Motor Credit, low payments are our specialty.
You'll be impressed with the selection. You'll be amazed by the clearance prices at your Ford truck headquarters. Wilson Ford Lincoln, Bay Road in Saginaw, or wilsonford.com.
WSGW News Time, 8:12. Closing arguments get underway this morning in the trial of the man accused of killing Detroit synagogue leader Samantha Woll. Jackson Bolanos testified in his own defense that he was in her neighborhood October 21st looking for unlocked cars and items to steal. He also testified that he saw Woll's body lying on the ground and touched her neck, but did not call police. If convicted, he faces up to life in prison. It's a day to honor the women who have children who served or are currently serving in the military. Michigan News Network's Ryan Recker reports.
Founded in 1942 in Flint, Blue Star Mothers now has 200 chapters across the country to honor the courage and sacrifice of military moms. Senate Bill 235 designates February 1st as Blue Star Mother's Day, sponsored by Michigan State Senator Rick Outman of Six Lakes. What can you do to recognize a Blue Star mother?
Maybe reaching out to anybody that you know is a Blue Star mother, thanking them for everything they do, giving them some recognition, personally, to let them know that the things they do are important, particularly if you're a veteran, like I am, to let them know that what they're doing really makes a difference for us.
In the past, the day would need a yearly renewal, but this new law gives them a dedicated day every year. Ryan Recker for the Michigan News Network.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer can add author to her list of titles. The state's top executive publishing True Gretch, What I've Learned About Life, Leadership, and Everything in Between. The book by powerhouse publisher Simon & Schuster is out now, and Whitmer was in Ann Arbor at a mom-and-pop bookshop yesterday celebrating its release. Her publisher says the book provides insights into her leadership during the pandemic, political shutdowns, and covers the kidnapping plot against her. And Charlie, owning property in northern Michigan doesn't have to be a dream. The state is auctioning off land later this summer. DNR resource specialist Mike McCulloch says there are nearly 100 pristine properties up for auction.
So we have about 90 properties. They're kind of all over the state. We have a nice 80-acre parcel in Grand Traverse County. There's some decent properties in Ogama County, Otsego County.
There's also property overlooking Trout Lake in the UP. The first round of bidding is Friday, August 2nd.
There's going to be some people that want to grab some property.
Northern Michigan, it's a nice place to have some land.
What's the old cliche when it comes to buying land and real estate? They're not making it anymore, so so buy it when you can. 8:15 is the time on WSGW Weather Time. The forecasting, the update of WNEM First Alert meteorologist Matthew Montrow.
Staying warm and muggy for this Tuesday. High of 85, dew points at 65 degrees or higher. We do expect dry weather through much of the morning and the early afternoon, but rainfall will start to move in from the south. So starting in Flint, sometime in the mid to late afternoon, right around 4 or 5 o'clock is when we could see those first showers. That leads into more rain for tonight, a low of 66, then only a high of 67 on Wednesday. Essentially an all-day rain for tomorrow as the remnants of Beryl move through. We have declared a first alert weather day for Wednesday due to the heavy rainfall totals. We are expecting some accumulations by Wednesday night into Thursday morning to range from 2 to 4 inches. This does bring a flooding threat for fields and low-lying areas or areas prone to flooding. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matthew Mondro.
It's a steady barometer of 2994. It's a west wind at 671. That's your temp at WSGW. Your connection to the Great Lakes Bay region and your connection to the world. Got Tigers Talk coming up. Tigers broadcast reporter Daniela Bruce. She joins us next.
Mike here from Westside Decorating Center with an unbeatable promotion on our granite and quartz countertops. At Westside, we're committed to enhancing your home. So for the entire month of July, enjoy free tear out of your old laminate counters, free edge upgrades, and incredible discounts on a wide range of granite and quartz counters. Upgrade your space with style and savings. Visit us today at 5789 State Street in Saginaw Township, or check us out online at westsidedecoratingcenter.com.
Hey guys, breaking news. Did you hear that gold hit an all-time high? And based on market analysis, it could soar even higher. With inflation increasing, global tensions escalating, and central banks buying gold at record levels, the gold boom could skyrocket to over $7,000 an ounce. In fact, experts claim that the gold investing madness is just getting started. And that's why we partnered with the highest rated gold company, Goldco. They have earned over 5,000 five-star reviews from tens of thousands of happy customers who have diversified their savings with gold and silver. Today, Goldco is offering you up to 8 years in free IRA fees plus 8% instant match in bonus silver with a qualified account. Call 855-815-GOLD for free IRA fees, bonus silver, and a free gold and silver info kit. What are you waiting for? Join the tens of thousands of people who have already joined the gold rush and diversified their savings with gold and silver. Call 855-815-GOLD now. That's 855-815-GOLD now.
Here with WSGW. And at 8:18 Tuesday on WSGW, This time we set aside on Tuesdays, almost every Tuesday, as much as we can. We like to talk Tigers with our Tiger broadcasting friends. And we're pleased to do so once again with our Tiger. And we remind you, Red Wings broadcaster. That would be you, Daniela Bruce, as we say good morning and thank you again for your time. I need to ask, I know you were spending time in the past week because of the Red Wings development camp. Are you officially back with the Tigers now? Were you at the game last night or?
Yes, I am back at Comerica Park with the Tigers. Development camp actually wrapped up last Friday. So after Friday's 3-on-3 tournament, I was back in the Tigers mode.
Okay, that's what I was thought, but I wasn't sure. I didn't know if you maybe had a little break since you were so busy in the last week with everything you were doing.
I'll get some time coming up, but no, not right now.
And the reason I ask, especially about last night, was I had an obligation and I didn't have the chance to get to the Tigers at the beginning. I thought, well, I'm going to catch the end of the game. And as I'm turning in, I barely caught the end of the game because it was such a quick game with the Tigers going 1-0 against the Guardians. But how about that? The Tigers, as we talked this morning, Daniela, the 4-game winning streak now, sweeping the Reds in Cincinnati, coming home against the first place Guardians and getting a victory there. But that's just a nice way to have the Tigers. Again, as we talk about heading to the All-Star break against the Guardians and the Dodgers coming up, you want to win these games. They're going to be so important for confidence going ahead.
Oh, definitely. And I think you have to give a shout out in last night's game to Cater Montero, the starting pitcher that was called up in the absence of Casey Mize. He started a couple times due to doubleheaders and rain delays, but this last 2 games that he started were his first actual starts as a part of the rotation, and he's done a fantastic job. He looked really good yesterday, the young pitcher that he is, pitching into the 7th inning before the Tigers had to go to their bullpen and shutting down one of the best offenses in baseball right now. So he did a great job. Obviously, the Tigers had some trouble scoring themselves. Riley Green probably had the unluckiest game of baseball that I think I've ever seen. He had a 390-foot fly out and then a 402-foot fly out to center, where the center fielder just made a spectacular play. He had a double called back. That was a foul ball upon review. There was just a lot going on in that game, and I thought the effort was really there. So I was very happy, even if it was on a fluky error play to get that run home, that the Tigers were able to scrape away a win.
Yeah, but to your point, though, Green, who hammers the ball, and then Mark Kennedy hits the harmless grounder, which turns into be the game-winning, well, it was an error, but still the game-winning run. And, interesting because you mentioned Cater Montero. I was going to ask about Cater because I know that his previous start, he got his first victory. And if he's going to have to be part of the rotation, I haven't heard long time on Casey. Have you heard anything? I mean, it turned out to be more than we thought.
Yeah, he's on the 15-day IL, which means it's definitely going to be a couple of starts, but I don't think they see it being past that. Again, I'm not positive on that front. We haven't had an update since he was placed on the injured list, but he's going through rehabbing the hamstring right now and is on the 15-day. So I feel like there probably is another start for Cater Montero in there, and we'll see where Casey is at that point.
And as long as we're talking about that, I don't know, do you have any insight further? It was his boy Parker Meadows, who just comes back after that stint in AAA, and he seemed to be off to a hot start in his first few games, and then coming up with an injury, which turns out to be, he's got a hamstring problem too from that injury that he suffered.
Yeah, it sounds like bad news that he's on the IL, but they got better news than they anticipated with Parker Meadows. So hopefully it's not too long. He's on the 10-day. You have the All-Star break coming up, so that will be a nice buffer. Hopefully he can come back after the break and be ready to go, because you know how excited he had to be to get the call back to Detroit. He was playing pretty well. His at-bats looked a lot better. He's always been great in center field, so he picked that up right where he left off, and then, of course, an injury. But yeah, I think that one is actually a little bit better news than they first anticipated, which is a good sign. So hopefully after the break, he'll be ready to go.
And continuing that point, Danielle, let me ask you about just reactivated and playing last night. Javi Baez is back.
Yeah, and I know Javi Baez hasn't contributed too much offensively, and everybody would like to see those numbers tick up. But I talked to him yesterday, actually pre and post game, just about how he's feeling. And he went down and got a similar shot to what Jack Flaherty did in his back in Lakeland, and then worked on some rehab a little bit. And he compared the way his back was feeling to a flat tire. He said it felt like I had a flat tire. Now that I've got that fixed and I'm straight, my swing feels a lot better. And last night he went 1 for 3, and he almost went 2 for 3. He hit 107 off the bat that was knocked down by the shortstop Brian Rocchio for the Guardians that could have gone through for a base hit. But he looked great out there yesterday. He, like I said, better at the plate, better at bats. And the shortstop, he was on fire. He made some great plays defensively. Really, the Tigers as a whole played a very clean defensive game, which is something they always have to do. But having Javi Baez gives you that assurance that if the ball's going to shortstop, odds are he's making that play, right?
Let's talk to, since we've referenced the fact that Tigers are playing and have a few more games before the All-Star break. All-Star teams were announced. And boy, where do we start? Do we start with Tarek Skubal, who was the expected All-Star, but bonus Riley Green, who everyone said deserved, but you never know, and he got in too. That's nice to hear.
Yeah, and the two of them both got in on player votes, so other peers and major leaguers voted them in, and they both talked about how cool that is. Obviously, they love the fans, but they know how much the fans in Detroit have embraced them, and they know how much fans around the league have embraced them. To see that your peers recognize the work you're putting in and the way that you're performing, that's pretty cool. And it was really cool for both of them, especially Riley Green, who he told me his family had been stuffing the ballot box, had been going in and voting the 5 times a day or whatever it is that you can vote. And it wasn't really helping him make a dent in the polls. So he was pretty excited to get in, and his family will be in Texas to join him for the All-Star game too.
And there are rumors, I haven't checked to see how the rotation might play out, but there are rumors that perhaps Tarek Skubal might even be named as a starter. Have you heard anything on that or how that might play out?
No, I've also seen some rumors, heard some buzz, but nothing confirmed. But I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think that would be a bad play to have him be the starter for the American League. He's been unbelievable this season.
Let's move on to a couple more other Tiger things before I'm going to have to squeeze in a Red Wing question too in our time that we have again with Daniela Bruce, our broadcast reporter for the Tigers and Red Wings. I know we've mentioned him a couple of times, but it seems in the past week he's really had a hot bat, and I'm not sure what the turnaround might have been. Maybe it was that 2 home run game. Colt Keith, I don't want to say quietly, but he's really, his defense seemed to be there, but he's really picked it up at the plate lately.
Yeah, actually, I would say he's picking up on both sides. His defense has been a little sharper. I know you didn't get to watch the entire game last night, but the Tigers turned a double play, and it started with Colt Keith getting the ball to Javi Baez, and it was the quickest play that I think I've seen him make at second base. So I just feel like he's getting better and more comfortable, and he was building some chemistry with Javi Baez. So to have him back, I feel like that's going to help him develop defensively too. But yeah, at the plate, Colt Keith has always had it. He's a good hitter, and he was going to figure it out. And he's still young, so he's going to go through those streaks of really good times and not so good times, like we're seeing with a lot of the young players. But he has been excellent at the plate in the past 7 games. He's specifically been really good. So his last week has been awesome, and hopefully this is a sign that he feels more comfortable and he's finally figuring out how to adjust to the big leagues.
All right, still a couple more games against the Guardians, 3 more. Then we got the Dodgers, so it's not an easy stretch heading to the All-Star break, but let's see if we can continue those winning ways, build on this 4-game winning streak. If I can switch just for a few comments from me, Daniela, since you were there, and again, as much as
let's do it.
Yeah, as much as we broadcast the Tigers, we broadcast the Wings. Any perspective of what you saw when you were at development camp?
Well, development camp is always a really fun time of year. You get all of the prospects in town, and they had all 8 draft picks from the 2024 draft in town. And their first round pick, 15th overall, Michael Brantig-Nygaard, was really the highlight of the camp, right? We had all seen Nate Danielson. We know what he can do, and he had a very good camp as well. Trey Augustine had a great camp as well. But we were calling him MBN, so we can shorten his name a little bit. Michael Brantig-Nygaard was really impressive. He's really sound on the puck. He's a bigger guy for his age, and he's physical. First Norwegian taken in the first round of the draft, so it was fun to get to know him a little bit. Obviously, he's going to go back to Sweden and play this year. Same with Axel Sandin-Pellikka, who was a last-year pick. He'll go back to Sweden and play for another year. But they'll actually play together, which is cool to have prospects playing in the same organization over in Sweden. So they'll do that. But overall, just a really good camp to get to see some of these guys in person. Emmett Finney, who was a 7th-round pick last year, had a great camp. And you always like to see that from those late-round picks that maybe you did find a gem in a later round. He's hoping to play in Grand Rapids next season. So just a lot of really good things coming out of development camp this year. And I don't know if you saw the clips on social media, but Pavel Datsuk was there, and he was teaching some of our young prospects a few things and out there on the ice with them. So that was a cool moment for everybody watching Pavel back out there.
Yeah, I think if I was there, I'm not sure I would have learned anything because I've just been watching in awe.
It is. It was like that for all of us. Even the coaches, Chris Draper, Dan Cleary, Dan Watson, all there. They were a little mesmerized to have them out there with their prospects too.
And I think you already answered a question I was going to follow up on, but I'll ask it anyway. Just, do we already know then, the Wings have already made decisions of where players are going to be, or is there still a question mark for some guys of where they might end up playing?
Well, there can always be a question mark for the guys that are going to be in North America, right? Do they have a really good camp and do they make the roster, or do they find themselves in Grand Rapids? That's really the biggest question. I think it's set in stone for the guys that are going to go play one more year in Sweden, because their seasons have to start a little bit earlier, so they can't come over for camp. So they'll be playing already, the guys that are in the SHL, but we'll have like a Nate Danielson, or Marco Kasper. There's a chance they could make the big club this year with the Red Wings trying to get a little bit younger and see what some of their youth can do. And then you have Jonathan Berggren, who can't go down to Grand Rapids unless he clears waivers. And if you put him on waivers, I don't think he's going to clear. And that's the same situation with Albert Johansson. So there's some interesting things that the Red Wings are going to have to decide on as we get to training camp. But that's what makes training camp so much fun. And we've been waiting for some of these prospects to get into the NHL for so many years now that I think we're going to see a couple of them crack that lineup this year.
Well, we appreciate the fact that you are able to do double duty in your roles as a broadcast reporter for both the Tigers and Wings, which for us is exciting since we broadcast both. And your perspective is always welcome, Daniela. Thank you again for your time.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Charlie. We'll talk soon.
Again, we call it Tigers Talk on Tuesdays, but hey, when you've got somebody who's close to the Red Wings, and we're looking forward to that starting, won't be long. We get a little Tigers and Red Wings perspective for you this morning on WSGW.
This farm has been in my family for 50 years. To be able to sustain our land, we've had to look at new ways of doing things. By installing solar panels on our farm, we're able to generate electricity for our community and revenue for our family. I say seeing is believing. You can have solar and agriculture working together. I'm proud of what we're doing, and I'm glad we're able to keep this land in my family.
Fuel for Thought, presented by the American Clean Power Association.
Morning Team Tuesday is going on WSGW, you with Charlie and Mike and Jonathan. We have a dry day at this time. Got just a quiet summer morning, 71 degrees. But later today, especially this afternoon into tonight and tomorrow, it apparently is going to be quiet. As we have expectations of rain, it's just a matter of exactly how much. Predictions are out for how much rain, which is going to be how much actually happens. We'll have the forecast update for you. We're going to check in with Art Lewis, who is on a broadcast location for his shows coming up this morning after the news at 9. Michigan History Moment. We'll have a chance to hear a moment of Michigan's great history of its people and places and events coming up. News right now. And in the WSW newsroom this morning for Mike Percha, here's Jonathan Dent.
Thank you, Charlie. Good morning, everybody. A Bay City man was arrested after crashing and rolling his vehicle Saturday night. MLive reports the crash occurred around 10:25 in the 1000 block of South Winona Avenue. The 58-year-old was driving a 2013 Chevy Volt southbound when he crashed into an unoccupied 2024 Chevy Equinox, and his vehicle rolled onto its side, trapping the man inside. He was extracted by firefighters and taken to a local hospital for treatment of minor injuries before being arrested for a third offense, operating while intoxicated. Authorities have confirmed that a severe storm last Friday did result in a tornado touching down in Huron County. According to the National Weather Service, an EF0 tornado was detected in Huron Township near the tip of Michigan's thumb. Being in the weakest tornado classification, it reached estimated wind speeds of around 75 miles per hour. It lasted about 2 minutes between 4:38 and 4:40 p.m. Authorities say damage was mainly caused to trees and some nearby crops. After severe weather concerns prompted a cancellation in June, Great Lakes Bay Pride has announced a new date for its regional festival. The new date is set for August 17th at Winona Park between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. The free event will include vendors, community resource partners, health screenings, and children's activity area. Organizers say most elements of the event will stay the same, with some changes to entertainment and vendors expected because of the rescheduling. WSGW News Time, 8:33.
I'm with Sean Carnahan, sales manager for Adventure Homes, who uses Applied Innovation as their managed network services provider.
They do all of our computers, so they take care of all of our issues, anything that comes up with our servers, any tech support, software we need, any equipment we need.
And before Applied Innovation?
We had another company. It was a hometown company. It was actually bought out by Applied. So it was very nice to have a larger company and have a lot more offerings. Applied has done an excellent job in taking over that hometown account and really making sure we still feel like a hometown account.
How has Applied Innovation benefited Adventure Homes?
We have benefited because, we now have services that we did not have with our older company.
And for Sean?
Bottom line benefit for Sean, it saves me time because I'm not the IT guy anymore.
Outsource your IT function to Applied Innovation's experienced, knowledgeable network professionals. Call Applied Innovation today, 800-521-0983, or visit appliedinnovation.com.
WSGW News Time, 8:34. A community on the east side of Detroit is speaking out after a violent weekend. 21 people were shot at a block party early Sunday morning. 2 were killed. Teferi Brent with Urban Peace and Justice was among the many community activists commenting on the shootings, saying the underlying issues need to be addressed before gun violence can truly be remedied.
We cannot incarcerate ourselves out of this. Until we address substance abuse, until we address fatherlessness, until we address functional illiteracy, until we address mental health issues, until we address poverty, we will be back here over and over and over again. We have resources standing in this room right behind me that need to be in our schools.
Brent suggested implementing more mental health and conflict resolution resources into schools. Detroit police recently discovered a hungry alligator, a pet dog, and a dead body in the home of a man who had not been heard from in weeks. There to do a wellness check, authorities surmised that the deceased had been keeping the 4-year-old female gator as a pet. Neither the alligator, which was caged, nor the dog had eaten in weeks. Authorities say people who take alligators for pets often don't know what to do when they reach a certain size, and so just let them go free. The reptile in question, now named Izzy, is bound for an alligator sanctuary near Battle Creek. It's a new campaign to get people to slow down. The theme, Speeding Catches Up With You. Michigan News Network's Jeff Gilbert has more.
This guy was driving way over the speed limit.
Speeding caught up with more than 12,000 people who died in speed-related crashes in 2022. Deputy National Highway Traffic Safety Administrator Sophie Schulman says more than 300,000 were injured.
Speeding is stressful, it's inconsiderate to other drivers, and it makes you a danger to yourself, your passengers, and everyone else on the road.
The campaign includes increased enforcement on freeways and elsewhere, as 87% of speed-related deaths last year occurred on non-interstate highways. Jeff Gilbert, the Michigan News Network.
And Charlie, another professional sports team is coming to Michigan. A Big Three basketball team will be coming to Detroit thanks to an ownership group that involves Eastern Michigan legend George Gervin and former Lion TJ Lang. They expect to compete in Ice Cube's league in 2025. Detroit becomes the 4th expansion team. The league is currently in its 7th season. And I know we were talking about it earlier. It's a 3-on-3 basketball league.
Yeah.
Begun by Ice Cube,
which has been around apparently for a few years anyway, with some celebrities and some former NBA players.
Matthew came in and he follows sports. I guess he follows this kind of thing closer than you or I, because I said, "Do you know about the Big Three?" He said, "Yeah." And he ran through a brief summary for me. So now I'm educated on it.
Well, if it's outside I guess I'll say the regular sports that I'm used to following.
Yeah.
I need to be brought up to speed a little bit. Leave it to the young guys like Matthew. It is 8:38 on WSGW. Brings us to the forecast update of WNEM First Alert meteorologist Matthew Mondro.
Staying warm and muggy for this Tuesday. High of 85, dew points at 65 degrees or higher. We do expect dry weather through much of the morning and the early afternoon, but rainfall will start to move in from the south. So starting in Flint, sometime in the mid to late afternoon, right around 4 or 5 o'clock is when we could see those first showers. That leads into more rain for tonight, a low of 66, then only a high of 67 on Wednesday. Essentially an all-day rain for tomorrow as the remnants of Beryl move through. We have declared a first alert weather day for Wednesday due to the heavy rainfall totals. We are expecting some accumulations by Wednesday night into Thursday morning to range from 2 to 4 inches. This does bring a flooding threat for fields and low-lying areas or areas prone to flooding. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matthew Mondro.
That barometer is 2994 and steady. That wind is out of the west at 6. 71 degrees at WSGW, your connection to the Great Lakes Bay region and your connection to the world. Just double checking a couple of notes from the National Weather Service. Nothing new. But the notes are the flood watches that you hear referenced officially. And we're calling it basically the entire southern half of the Lower Peninsula, using our Saginaw Bay, Midland County area for the northern edge, off to the thumb, the tip of the mitten, the tip of the thumb with Huron County. And you go west to Lake Michigan. There's a few counties on the west side of the state that aren't officially in the flood watch, as it kind of is on a, we'll say, diagonal pattern from where it's going to start in the southwest corner, moving up to the Great Lakes Bay region. But essentially for today, tonight, and through tomorrow night, that's the flood watch period. Could be in the low range of 2 inches, as much as 4, maybe even more in some of the more southern sections of the state. But potentially, obviously, a lot of water in a short period of time. And so low-lying areas, and we have to check rivers and such to find out exactly how it plays out. But hopefully not more than that. But we'll find out. The remnants of Beryl that you're hearing about that are going to be in effect. Right now, though, just dry, pleasant. Do what you need to do early today and this afternoon before certainly later on this late afternoon and into this evening and tomorrow.
I'm Paul Young, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Build the wall. Deport illegals. Put America first. That's Paul Young's plan. The conservative choice for Congress. Pro-Trump and proud of it. Paul Young will secure our border and bring back Michigan jobs. Young served in President Trump's administration, enforcing immigration law to keep illegals out. That's why Young's been with Trump since 2016 and never wavered. But Mary Draves, she serves Democrats. Gretchen Whitmer handpicked Draves to her climate council to push tax hikes and mandates on Michiganders. It's no wonder why Draves backed Biden's Green New Deal and opposed Trump's policies to protect American workers. Draves even donated to Trump-hating Democrats who tried to impeach him. We can't trust Mary Draves to stand with Trump, and Michigan can't afford to send her to Congress. Paid for by Paul Young for Congress.
Hey, WSGW. You with Charlie, Mike, Jonathan. No Mike's off today. Your morning team, we are presented by Paint Bull. That's Bay Road north of Shattuck and Saginaw. The east side of the road, look for the red awning and the red trim, the red awning that says fixed fast for less, especially when it comes to that body shop work that could be done as a body shop alternative. Paint Bull, one of the services from your morning team sponsor. Online, find paintbullrepair.com. Online, find StormmasterExteriors.com as we broadcast online at WSW.com, courtesy of the help of Stormmaster Exteriors, your online broadcasting sponsor, your studio sponsor, StormmasterExteriors.com. Maybe you're listening on 100.5 or 790, maybe through Siri and Alexa. Thanks for doing so. We're at 8:42, Michigan History Moment. We will have that coming up for you, a bit of Michigan's great history and its people, places, and events. Before we do that, we need to do a check-in because we have an an out-of-studio broadcast on this Tuesday morning. Art Lewis, you are set up out of studio this morning. Good morning to you.
I am, and it is not a...
And you were ready to get a hole in one today, weren't you? Just don't let the little windmill get in the way, right? All right. Yeah, sounds like golf early for the rain later on today, apparently. Should be okay. All right, we'll look forward to more of your broadcast. We'll check in again before the news at 9 and make sure we're all set and ready to go. 2 weeks ago it was supposed to be the Invitational, but got rained out. That happens. Can't control Mother Nature. But we want to thank all our golfers who are going to be with us today, including our closest to the pin winners who were able to readjust to their schedules. Remember, we had the closest to the pin contest as part of the Invitational to win foursomes to the Sawmill today. In just minutes, actually teeing off, presented by Westside Decorating Center, powered by Branham's Jewelry. Hole-in-one contest, at least on the first shot for the designated hole, that presented by Buck Insurance in Freeland. Longest drive competition sponsored by JJ's Roadhouse, and the overnight stays you can win from Shanty Creek Resorts. Lots of other businesses involved as hole sponsors, as well as prizes that are being offered. Just a lot of fun. We thank our listeners who, if they didn't win, did purchase entries to golf with us. Got some business associates with us. So it's good to know that today it will work, unlike June 25th when it didn't work. But yeah, golf early today into early this afternoon. We think later on, late this afternoon into evening, that's when you're hearing those forecast updates of expectations of rain arriving. It's 8:45 at WSGW. Hey, before we do the history moment, let me remind you, a brand new contest is underway with you and WSGW. It is the WSGW Alpha Media Trippin' Across America contest. You can win a VIP package getaway for two and trip across America. As winners will choose a trip from 20 plus incredible destinations. Flights are included, luxury hotel accommodations, excursions. We're actually going to give away 4 trips, one a week, between now through August 2nd. You can enter up to once per day. Bonus entries too. Now, each week is an individual contest, so we're going to have you enter this week. Then if you don't win, enter again next week, and don't win, enter the following week. You got, again, 4 weeks, but each week is a fresh contest for you to enter. It is an Alpha Media company-wide contest. You have to be 18 or older to play. One winner is drawn each week. Contest rules available at WSGW.com. When you're online, look for the Win a VIP Flyaway contest box, and you can get yourself entered. Good luck. The first week of registration is underway now through Sunday before the second week contest will begin. 8:47. So let's get to the Michigan History Moment. As this feature is from the Historical Society of Michigan and Michigan History Magazine. A chance to hear again the great history of Michigan and highlighting the people and places and some of the events of Michigan's history.
This is Bob Myers from the Historical Society of Michigan with a Michigan History Moment. It's a valuable jewelry, and it's called Fordite or motor agate. But what is Fordite? Well, in short, Fordite is a sort of synthetic gemstone that looks much like an agate. It's made up of layers and layers of automobile paint, hence Fordite. The earliest automobiles were brush painted in the fashion of horse-drawn carriages. It took a long time to paint a car, and the paint job did not hold up well. As the demand for automobiles grew in the early 20th century, manufacturers looked for ways to speed up the process. The Ford Model T dominated the market for years, rolling off the assembly line by the millions. The first Model Ts, from 1908 through 1912, came in red, gray, green, or blue, but were not available in black. From 1915 until 1926, the Model T came only in black, although Ford used more than 30 different types of black paint. Competing auto companies offered multiple colors, which eventually forced Ford to abandon its black paint-only policy. In 1924, spray guns were introduced to the auto assembly line. Spray guns allowed workers to paint the cars more quickly and gave a more consistent finish than brush painting. Spray painting cut the finish time by 2/3. There was just one problem: overspray. Most of the paint went on the car body, but some collected on the tracks and skids that carried the cars. After painting, the assembly line carried the car into an oven that baked on the finish. Naturally, the paint baked onto the tracks and skids as well. That eventually built up in thick, multicolor coats of baked paint that the workers had to break off. The result? Chunks of Fordite, also known as motor agate. Today, motor agate is made into all sorts of beautiful jewelry. Cut to shape and polished, Fordite is a highly desirable material. Unfortunately for rockhounds, automobile assembly lines no longer produce it. New painting technology has virtually eliminated overspray, so paint doesn't build up on the assembly line. Today's supply of Fordite comes from auto workers who brought home chunks of the material years ago. This Michigan History Moment has been brought to you by MichiganHistoryMagazine.org.
On Tuesday mornings, we have the Michigan History Moment for you on WSGW. It is a moment that we will put up in podcast form for you on the Morning Team page at WSGW.com. When you scroll down, look for that red section which highlights shows. Click on the Morning Team circle and look for today's date of July 9, 2024. Now we start going up to the hour once again, as we have up-to-the-minute news and business and weather to do for you on WSGW. It is 8:50.
From Michigan News Source, I'm Cheryl Fritz. Our top story this hour: vaccinating wild animals, specifically white-tailed deer. That's the focus of a Michigan-based study working to end bovine tuberculosis in the state. Back in February, 100 little cubes of medicine were placed at 16 sites in Alpena County. They were made up of alfalfa and molasses for the deer to eat and had an edible vaccine hidden inside. It's a collaboration between MSU, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and the Michigan DNR. MSU is developing a new vaccine. The DNR is testing delivery methods, and the USDA is funding the efforts. It's still early in the process, but MSU said it can be engineered to protect against any infectious agent. Unemployment claims are on the rise across Michigan. Tim Knight has the story.
That's according to the latest data released by the U.S. Department of Labor, which shows that for the week ending June 28th, new jobless claims are up by more than 1,000 as compared to the week prior. However, the state's unemployment rate remains below the national average at 4.1%. For Michigan News Source, I'm Tim Knight.
As part of the annual Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance Operation Safe Driver Week, Michigan State Police are increasing road patrols to watch out for unsafe drivers. Increased traffic safety enforcement will be on the lookout for driver behavior violations that cause vehicle crashes, such as speeding, following too closely, improper lane changes, reckless or careless driving, and texting, handheld use of a phone while driving. Inspectors will also be attentive to apparent alcohol and or drug impairment. The initiative kicks off this week. For Michigan News Source, I'm Cheryl Fritz.
And Charlie, coming up at 9 o'clock, CBS will have our national and international news headlines. President Biden hosting a NATO summit amid concerns about his health, and Hurricane Beryl leaves behind at least 8 deaths in Texas and Louisiana.
We're just minutes away then on WSGW at 9 o'clock. We continue, though, at this time to go up to that hour. Up to the minute reports. Now a Fox Business Report. And the time is 8:53.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Small businesses are feeling more confident than they have all year, though lingering concerns over inflation remain. The National Federation of Independent Business says its optimism index rose to 91.5 last month, up from 90.5 in May. Tesla shares are slightly lower this morning after closing higher for a ninth consecutive session. It's the longest winning streak for Tesla in more than a year. Its rally has followed better than expected deliveries for the recent quarter. Intel shares are gaining again this morning. The stock has been rising since analysts predicted Intel will have a strong second half of the year. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell testifies today to the Senate Committee on Banking. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
Hi, I'm Ron Kraszewski, Chairman and CEO of Stifel. Financial advisors, let's face it, if you're not growing your practice, you're losing market share. Stifel is a growing, entrepreneurial, advisor-centric firm built for successful advisors like you. There's a reason why 148 financial advisors joined Stifel last year. Come join us and find out why Stifel is the firm where success meets success. Visit www.choosestifel.com.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
WSGW. As we head up to the hour with your up-to-the-minute weather now. WNEM First Alert Meteorologist Matthew Mondro. It is 8:54.
Staying warm and muggy for this Tuesday. High of 85, dew points at 65 degrees or higher. We do expect dry weather through much of the morning and the early afternoon, but rainfall will start to move in from the south. So starting in Flint, sometime in the mid to late afternoon, right around 4 or 5 o'clock is when we could see those first showers. That leads into more rain for tonight, a low of 66, then only a high of 67 on Wednesday. Essentially an all-day rain for tomorrow as the remnants of Beryl move through. We have declared a first alert weather day for Wednesday due to the heavy rainfall totals. We are expecting some accumulations by Wednesday night into Thursday morning to range from 2 to 4 inches. This does bring a flooding threat for fields and low-lying areas or areas prone to flooding. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matthew Mondro.
Barometric pressure of 2994, steadied. Got a west wind at 6, and we show 71 at WSGW. Your connection to the Great Lakes Bay region, your connection to the world.
When's the last time you had your air ducts cleaned? When it comes to your home cleaning checklist, air ducts are easy to miss. Out of sight, out of mind. But if you find yourself dusting a lot or want to reduce allergies in your home, it's time for a cleaning from the Mod Team. Protecting your indoor air quality is simple and quick.
Modernistic, simple and quick. We're the first with experience and quality.
Schedule at modernistic.com and get $75 off air duct cleaning with offer code FRESH75.
Experience all the excitement at Comerica Park this season. Catch the biggest matchups against the Dodgers, Yankees, and Red Sox. And don't forget about Friday Night Party in the Park, presented by Casamigos, with pregame happy hour and our spectacular postgame fireworks shows. Keep the party going on the weekends with giveaways on Saturdays and Chevy Sunday Kids Days. Secure your tickets now at tigers.com/tickets.
As we're approaching the news at 9 o'clock, just minutes away here on WSGW. After the news at 9, we will be with the Art Lewis Show with you, Art Lewis, but not in studio this morning. All right, a full morning with Art Lewis on WSGW, Art and you together. Terry Henney will be along. The farm program coming up at 11:30. Tigers baseball, that's a 6:15 broadcast. Tigers and Guardians from Comerica Park. Tigers looking to build on a 4-game winning streak, including that 1-0 win over the Guardians last night. Let's get out in song as we do, and it is a birthday that we will acknowledge, entering a brand new decade for this artist. She is 70 years old. She's the last, if I'm not mistaken, the last original member of the three sisters that made up the group. We're talking Debbie Sledge. Remember Sister Sledge? Yep. Debbie is celebrating her 70th birthday today. And a lot of great music, of course, that we could use when it comes to Sister Sledge. But we're going to use the big one, the one that everyone remembers and enjoys. Let's do a little We Are Family for Debbie Sledge and birthday number 70 today.
Together as we walk on by, and we fly just like birds of a feather. I won't tell no lie. All of the people around us, they say, can they be that close?
Sister Sledge.
Just let me state for the record,
Debbie Sledge.
we're giving love and a
She's 70 years old today. It's 9 o'clock.
Broadcasting from the Stormmaster Exterior Studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Biden steps into the spotlight a day after the White House dealt with reporters' questions about a neurologist's visit to the White House.